everyone. Welcome back to Star Trek Club. 'Tis I, Captain Logan. There's Brandon Grimm.
Hello, everybody.
Across the way is Adam Meredith. And as always, we're going to watch some Star Trek. We're going to do some Star Trek trivia.
Is
it's
that
the
what we do in
same
this show?
old drill. Yes, indeed. Brandon, what series are you hoping we end up watching this evening?
Actually, so I was thinking earlier today, I was kind of hoping we might get a Voyager and a Deep Space Nine to start.
To start?
Deep Space Nine.
Oh, you mean a DS9 episode first?
Yes.
Is what you're hoping for?
Yes.
You have a real specific order you're hoping for there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And consecutive series, no less. Adam, what are you hoping comes up today? And any specific episodes from the board that you guys remember?
I don't know. I can't remember what's on the board. There's so much on there now.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I don't know. Maybe we could do a TOS episode. We haven't done one of those in a while.
That'd be good. There's
like.
not...
Yeah.
The likelihood is not great. There's not a bunch on the board right now. So hint, Adam and I at least would really appreciate it if folks would throw another couple TOS episodes on the board. Welcome everybody watching live, by the way. As always, if you want to put an episode on the wheel, there is quite a bit right now. It's taking us some time to knock some of these down, and the last few weeks we've only met a couple of times, so it's building up a lot faster. There's still enough space to put some things on it, so I'm not gonna not allow extra things added, but you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and that will entitle you both to putting an episode on the wheel and also putting forth a topic for discussion if you'd like to do that as well in a single super chat. But anyway, let's go ahead and spin the wheel and find out what we are watching first, and then we'll do a little bit of standard replicator, folks.
I'm predicting a pilot because didn't somebody load up all the pilots?
There's
on the
a
wheel?
bunch of pilots. Yeah. I'm sorry, Adam. I might have kind of spoken over you. What series are you hoping for?
TOS. Deep Space Nine is good anytime.
He doesn't really care what order.
One of the reasons that I even went for DS9 is just because there's a lot of that I haven't seen, and you know it's nice to see brand new, good Star Trek.
I've been, new
not
you.
new to me, yeah.
New to you,
so,
but not
stuff I've never seen.
Brand
that's
new.
good.
Because by definition, brand new would be it just came out this week.
It's Brandon new.
It's Brandon new, exactly. All right, here we go. Once again, so many episodes on the wheel right now, you can't even see the titles on the wheel. Let me just check our audience real quick and make sure nobody else has added anything. Nope. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. Okay, let's go ahead and spin it and find out what we're watching. Here we go. I am indeed.
It's spinning.
There it goes.
The Wheel of Star Trek episode.
The Wheel of Star Trek, and it is Who Mourns for Adonais. So we are getting some TOS. That's exciting. Very good. That's a really good Star Trek episode. That is one of my wife's favorites.
It is a good Star Trek episode. It's also one of the TOS episodes I've seen the most of.
Yeah, we watched it in club probably 4 or 5 times over the years.
That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, of TOS, I've seen that probably more than most other episodes.
Yeah, sure.
Does Jason like the floating hand or floating Abraham Lincoln better?
Ooh, hard to say. You have to ask him. Maybe he'll
Jason,
mention that in the comments.
No.
Yeah, I think he's watching right now. His mom might be giving him a haircut, though, so I'm not sure. They might just have us on in the background, in which case they're probably not paying any attention to us. Okay, let's go ahead and do some standard replicator. I am thinking of something that has to do with Star Trek in my captainy little brain. We're going to start with Adam this time, and you guys watching live, this is just yes or no questions. We're doing sort of a 20 questions thing, trying to land on whatever Star Trek-related thing is in my head. Could be anything, canonical-wise, with the original Prime continuity. We don't do New Trek with this, and you can leave your own questions in the comments and we'll give you guys a turn collectively each time we go around between these two guys, and just make sure that you're paying attention to what has been asked already and piggyback off of that. So Adam, why don't you get us started, man?
Is it alive?
It is not alive. Brandon Grimm.
Just really quickly, can I just say, a thought occurred to me. I wonder what other Star Trek clubs that are out there have any sort of games that they do, like if they do anything similar. Just occurred to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, is it technology?
It is technology. Let's see if anybody has already asked a thing. Not yet. But I will say, Tom just left his $5 super chat, so let's go ahead and pause the game for just a second. And he asked for the Cloud from Voyager, so we'll put that on the wheel. Thanks a bunch, man. What is your favorite...
Coffee in that nebula.
What is your... Yes, that is that episode. What is your favorite space atmosphere? I'm not sure I understand that question.
Anomaly, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was an odd typo or if he really means that. I don't know what... sorry, Tom. I don't know what that means. Favorite atmosphere. I just don't know what that...
Favorite space atmosphere is a breathable nitrogen mixture.
I like one where I can actually exist on the planet without some sort of...
class planet.
Breathing apparatus. Yeah, exactly.
It'll disintegrate your suit or something.
Exactly, Brandon.
You get exposed to it.
Yeah, I need some, good...
So the cloud I'm putting on the board here. Okay, so we know that it is not alive, and we know that it is technology. Somebody asked...
This is technology under the standard definition of technology, not Brandon's weird...
Okay.
That could have something to do with the fact that I haven't been having Brandon do a whole lot of these lately. No, I'm just kidding. So, cinematographic, is it Andorian? No. Matthew Base, is it a weapon? No. Let's go back to Adam? Adam.
Yes.
Okay, so it is technology and it is not a weapon.
It is not in and of itself a weapon.
Andorian weapon.
It's not Andorian.
I don't even know what an Andorian weapon looks like.
Well, those are two separate questions. But...
is it from, or do we see it in The Next Generation?
No.
No.
Granted.
Do we see it only in one series?
Yes. Yes,
Only
good question. David Dilks, years from now, there will be only 2 episodes left on the wheel. I wonder if when we are down to the final 2 episodes, it will be exciting. Yeah, I wonder that too. It'll be down to just 2 really mundane, who cares episodes.
Oh,
it's
God,
like
the
final days of Star Trek Club, and then we hype it up, right? And we make like trailers and stuff, and then it's like it's going to be between the ship and I don't know, name a really mediocre episode. They're hard to think of. They're mediocre.
So to like right before that happens, we'll eventually get to a point where
I would have said the cloud. Actually,
there are no more episodes to add. So at that point, then it becomes the countdown to the final 2.
The guy that used to do the announcements on like UPN or whatever do it next time on Star Trek.
Actually, I thought it would
I used to have Tim Lyons do that kind of thing for me all the time. Yeah.
I wish that we had a setup where we could pull up those promos to show them before the episode we watched.
We could, but we get copyright flag.
Oh man, that's true.
So anyway, yeah, and I don't know why we would do that like right before we watch an episode.
It's hilarious.
Did anybody from the comments have another question?
Matthew Base, is it a ship? Yes, it is a ship, and we go back to Adam. Yes, indeed.
Okay. Is it a unique ship, like one of a kind?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it a Federation ship?
It is a Federation ship. Yes, indeed. We'll go back to Adam while we're waiting for the audience. Go ahead.
Is it in Voyager?
It is in Voyager. Do you have a guess, sir?
Is it the Delta Flyer?
It is not the Delta Flyer.
No, is it...
I don't know if I would classify that as a ship. I would have raised an eyebrow and tried to decide how I was going to answer that, yeah, because that's a shuttle before it's a ship. It's somewhere... Although I see the Delta Flyer as somewhere in between, like a ship and like the other side of a runabout.
It's like a runabout, kind of.
Yeah. Like a captain's yacht, almost.
Yeah, size-wise, yeah, I would say.
It doesn't have its own like number or commission like the runabouts do, though.
Well, yes, but that's just because it was made in isolation, right? Demographic, is it Galaxy class? No, it is not.
My question is, was Annika Hansen on this ship?
No. But yeah, I not to criticize you too much, Brandon, but I always wonder why you ask questions like that, because that's basically a guess. You know what I mean? Like you'll ask a question that only has one answer, so it doesn't really help you that much. Like, you want to ask something that would narrow it down to more than one thing, and then because that was basically a guess. So, you might as well have just said, "Is it the Raven?" No, it's not the Raven. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't know the name of the ship.
Well, then why would you give him a better shot at getting it?
Because I wasn't going to get that name.
I'm just saying, nothing about that gameplay-wise makes any sense to me. I don't know why you play like that.
I didn't have a question. I didn't know the name of the ship. So.
Tom, $5 super chat, like a nebula or asteroid belt. That has nothing to do with atmosphere. That you like in any episode. Sorry, I'm driving home. Okay, well, don't text while you drive, Tom. We don't want you to have like a Doctor Strange situation.
Maybe it's text to speech to text.
I like the I do like the notion of the Delphic Expanse from Enterprise. We do some really goofy stuff with it, and the fact that the anomalies don't tend to affect human beings as much as they do like bulkheads and stuff is dumb and problematic. But I do like the idea of a man-made nebula or expanse. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Do you guys have one?
I like the Mutara Nebula.
Of course. Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. Adam's turn to ask a question.
Oh, well, I was answering Tom's question.
If you liked in the atmospheres.
Brandon. Yeah, I don't have it.
No atmosphere.
You don't have anything like nebulas or anything like that.
No.
Or like the Barzan wormhole.
I mean,
I got one from the Galileo 7, Murasaki 312.
Oh. Wow, damn. He left the super chat, and now I understand the question, so I thought we'd answer it, Brandon.
Yes. Well, I missed that. I missed that. That's what was happening. So I can't say anything off the top of my head at the moment.
Hi, Phil. Good to meet you, man. Or good to have you here anyway. You've been around before, but maybe not in Star Trek Club. So good to see you there. Okay. So anyway, Adam, why don't you ask me a question?
The Voyager, it's a ship.
It sure is.
Is it the Prometheus?
It is not the Prometheus. No.
Oh.
Demographic wants to know if it's Nebula class. I don't think so, but I actually don't right off remember the name of the class of the ship, so I could totally be wrong about that. Go ahead, Brandon.
I honestly don't remember any specific Nebula class ships in Voyager.
No, David, it's not the ship that could erase species from existing, because that would not be a Starfleet vessel. And I want to say that we narrowed it down to Starfleet vessels, did we not?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you asked that question. Yeah,
and I wonder, is it?
That would have been Anorax's ship. Did that have a name? That had a name, right?
Oh, I honestly don't know.
Or was it just the time ship, just generically?
I don't know what it was.
The time ship trademark. The time ship registered trademark.
Is this ship seen more than once?
No.
Okay.
Do you have a guess?
No.
Oh, based on that, you should have a guess. I don't think it'll get back around to you, Brandon.
I'm trying to come up with a ship that we've seen that I
think I might know what it is.
Okay.
Okay, well, is it is it
I just don't think you're trying, Brandon.
Shoot. I'm trying to think of the...
Oh, thanks, Phil. Yeah, appreciate it, buddy. Good to have you.
Shoot.
We're going to do Star Trek trivia and watch Star Trek episodes. That's what we do on this show.
I can't even remember the name of your car, because I think that's what it is.
Okay, let's go back to Adam.
Was this ship lost in the Delta Quadrant?
It sure was.
Yeah. Was it the Equinox?
It was the Equinox. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Chevy Equinox.
I was like, what's the name of Cap's vehicle?
I was like, Brandon, you know some. I mean, it could have been.
I knew it was Ransom's ship.
It could have been that. It could have been the relativity. Like, there were a few things it could have been.
Relativity is where my mind was actually headed, and that's why I couldn't remember Equinox.
Okay, let's do one more real fast. I should never say this, but this should be really easy. You guys should get it real quick. We're going to start with Brandon this time.
Okay. Is it bigger than Worf?
It is not bigger than Worf, no. And we go to Adam.
Is it alive?
It is alive.
Is it seen more than once?
No.
Not seen more than once. Is it seen in the original series?
Nope.
Seen in Next Gen.
TNG, yes indeed. Back to Adam.
Is this
I want to have Adam on one of the Power Ranger videos so I can say that, because in Power Rangers it's always like, if you're morphed already and you're about to go back into a fight, you say back to action. So you're like, back to Adam. Back to Adam.
Action Adam.
Is this life form malevolent in nature?
Malevolent?
Yeah.
I would say so.
Bad.
Yes.
Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Is this a space-born entity?
Nope, it's sure not. The demographic is a species. Nope, not looking for a species. Back to Adam.
So it's not.
Oh, I'll answer this one too. Phil, does it change its form? No, it does not change its form. Back to Adam.
Not a space entity.
So that rules out a few things.
Life form humanoid.
It is humanoid, yes. Brandon.
Is this...
JDF also asked for that, or asked that question.
Is this well, it's not a species. Is it a male?
Yes, it is a male. Mm-hmm. Adam.
It's a male.
It is not the male. We're not looking for the male Postmaster General, Brandon.
I will go back to the office on Monday doing the male.
Is it... let me think here. Is this person seen on the Enterprise at any point in their appearance?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh.
Does this person access the computers?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Almost positive that never happens. Cinematographic, does it violate the Treaty of Algeron? Nope. Phil, does it have an unhealthy crush on Wesley Crusher? No.
What benevolent thing had an unhealthy crush on Wesley Crusher?
I don't know.
Well, that girl shapeshifter did, but we already narrowed down that it wasn't a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
And I don't really think she was benevolent.
She wasn't really benevolent, though.
She wasn't really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Is this a Klingon?
No. Nope.
Okay.
That's another question.
Cinematographic, it's not Guinan. Guinan is not malevolent. Malevolent with an M, not benevolent with a B, okay?
Yeah.
Bad thing.
Does,
That's why he asked about the computers, because it could have been a bad guy that, like, got into the,
yeah, there's a couple
There's a fair
of
amount
those.
that do that, yeah. Brandon?
Does Dr. Crusher interact with this person?
Yes. Cinematographic Q is a shapeshifter. And not always, or not a shapeshifter, but someone that changes shape. Adam.
Humanoid.
Yeah, not humanoid, certainly.
Yeah.
Adam.
I can't believe I'm spacing out.
John, no, it is not with Starfleet. Adam?
So is this person a Romulan?
This person is not a Romulan.
Does this person fake their own death?
Ooh, no.
Okay. Rules out that guy.
Who faked their own death?
I was thinking of the guy in that episode where they fly into the corona of the sun.
Oh, that guy.
I don't know what that guy's name is.
I don't either.
Adam, good. So I opened this one was, this will be easy. That would have been real obscure for us. Go ahead, Adam. No, I meant it. This is easy.
Okay.
I meant it. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay.
And this is not one of those, like, I'm thinking something's easy, but you guys... This is easy. This is easy
Okay.
for you two. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Is this person a Borg?
Nope.
Okay. Killing the baddies.
Is this person is this person a human?
Yes.
Oh, it's a bad human.
Indeed, it's a bad human.
Okay.
No cinematographic. It's not a cloud creature. That's not humanoid.
John just said, I think we've done this before. Is it Birmingham Rasmussen?
It is Berlinghoff Rasmussen.
Nice.
Of course it is. I just watched that again yesterday,
Nice.
and I just could not help myself. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
why I figured you guys would get it pretty quick. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little bit of trivia. Like we have often been doing lately, I'm going to ask you guys to get out some paper or something to write on.
Okay.
You can go ahead and do that. You got your trusty phone?
I do.
Look at Brandon's big-ass phone. Look at this. It's just
Yeah,
this
it's
huge
20.
phone. Does it have a crack in it?
No.
You have a phone without a crack in it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
There you go. Mine doesn't either, but I just remember at one time you had a big crack in your phone. I think.
I did.
I thought so, yeah.
And then I cracked the back right.
I almost
before got
asked
this
Adam
one.
if he had something to write on, but of course he's just sitting at a computer, so that shouldn't be too difficult for Adam. Okay, so tonight we're going to do something that we haven't done in Club before, and it's a modification of a game that we used to play because I can't do it exactly the way it used to be, and this didn't used to be a thing that you would write things down, but we're going to have to do it that way for this to make any sense. So everybody play by yourselves at home. So usually with this game, Brandon and Adam, this would be one of those things where we would kind of go round robin, and you would have to select things and answer on your own, yourselves. But this time we're going to let you select things so that it randomizes the thing and changes it up, but everyone's going to play every turn, okay? So we are going to play, and just what you end up with is going to determine how many things get answered and how many points are possible. So we're going to play an old game I used to do called Punch It. There's Punch It. And the way Punch It works is a little different than it used to. You're going to see 3 columns. Here are the columns. And let me move Adam out of the way here. We'll put Adam, I don't know, we'll put Adam down here. That'll work. Adam, you can't see where you are, but you're down at the bottom of the screen now. And on each of your turns, I'm going to ask you to pick a category, or just like randomly. You'll pick a number for category, you'll pick a letter for series, and then you'll pick a letter number for number. And what everyone will have to do is they'll have to pick a from a category a certain number of things that only happen in a particular series. That's how that's going to work. It's real simple. It's kind of like rapid fire track, except there's going to be it's going to be less specific, broader categories. You'll have to come up with more than one. Usually with a rapid fire track like we played last week, you only do one thing at a time. We also won't go as fast. I'll give you a little bit more time to come up with things. Here's how the numbers break down. There are a few 2s, there are a few 1s, a few 2s, 2 3s, and 1 5. There is 1 5, and it is possible that you'll end up with something with a category where there aren't 5 or barely 5. I want to say everything there should be. It just depends on what series you wind up with. So we'll see how that works out. A couple of fun surprises in here and there. If you're playing with us live, please, just like last time, don't write any of your responses in the live comments. Don't give anything away to anybody, and you can let us know what things you came up with when we go back and take a look at these. Would one of you guys do me the favor, as you write yours down, of writing down what the categories and series and numbers were, so that when we go back through it, we can easily read those off?
Sure.
Would you guys mind? Just Adam, you want to do that, or Brandon, you want to do that?
I can do that.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. So just as we go along, just write down what each of those end up being for the numbers. So number your paper 1 to 10. Okay, we'll let Brandon pick first then. So Brandon, anything on this board? We need a category, a series, and a number.
10A A5.
Okay, so the category is the password. No, we'll do that again. The category is non-humanoid species or creatures. Non-humanoid species or creatures. And what letter did you pick for series?
I picked A.
You picked A, and the series is Enterprise.
Oh no!
Unfortunate. And,
oh no!
And what number did you pick?
I picked A5.
A5. You sunk my battleship. Okay.
Please be a 1.
A5 is 3.
Oh.
So you have to get 3 of those.
Son of a! This is after dark.
Yeah, this is rough. Everybody does, Adam. So everybody's going to be playing everything. We just let Brandon pick it.
Gotcha.
And so we'll see who gets the most points at the end, just like we always do. So
3 non-humanoid
species or characters. And I said earlier, just write them down silently as always. And I said earlier, only appearing in a series. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have said that. It just needs to be something that does appear in Enterprise. It's okay if it pops up in other series.
Sure.
That's okay. But we're just looking for non-humanoid species or creatures that show up in Enterprise.
Non.
Right off the top of my head, I can think of 2.
I can think of 1.
Well, that's good. That might put you ahead of the curve, Brandon. You can get 1. I mean, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So obviously, for max number of points, you want to try to write down as many as is possible, but you can't write down more than 3. But of course, you'll get points for as many as you do. So even if you don't get all 3, 1 will give you some points. We'll give you a point. And if we were playing this more competitively, I would give you extra points each time you get all of them past probably 2, but we're not going to play it that way. Having it write down on paper. Okay, let's go ahead and move on now.
You're going to accept my answer on one of those.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Adam, would you give us a category, a species, and a number, please? Or a series, and a number, please.
Okay, and so it was. I can't see the grid.
Oh, you can't see the grid. Hold on, I'll bring it up for you.
Okay.
Give me a second. Let me share my screen for you. I wasn't even thinking. Usually you can see it the way we had it set up before. Okay. But now you should be able to. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, sweet. So give us a category, a series, and a number.
Okay, category. And you picked, Brandon, what did you pick again? You picked 1. Are they uncovered now?
10. They're uncovered.
Yeah, they're all uncovered.
10A.
It's a small window for them. It's hard for me to see.
Yeah.
And
so 8 is villain characters, TNG or Voyager.
Oh, and then A2.
And you need 5 of those. 5 villains. This is one of the easier categories this could have been, though. So you need, and this is the 1-5 on the whole board. So 5 villains in TNG or Voyager. You can mix and match that. It just needs to be people who have been in TNG or Voyager or both. And I'll give you some extra time. Lewis Cox puts in a $5 super chat and asks us what our favorite Starfleet ships are. We will talk about that when we're finished with this game. You guys help me not forget that. We got to make sure and answer that super chat when we're done here. But this time we won't stop everything. We'll finish the game first.
Hopefully that works.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then. Brandon, we're going to let you pick on the board this time. We're just going to let these two guys do it, because it would be kind of awkward trying to do that with a live chat, I think. So
we're going to go with
one-shot species.
Sorry, I'm keeping that tab.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
J.
So one-shot species from DS9.
Okay.
And we need...
That's going to be... A6. Two
okay. One-shot species from DS9. That means they only appear in one episode, and of course, 2-parters count always as one episode for these games.
I know so little about DS9.
That one's harder for me with DS9 than some other shows.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'm sure Adam can do that. I can think of one right off.
I can't even.
Oh no, I just thought of 2.
Well, shoot. I'm not gonna get.
I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm not trying to rub it in. I just
no.
For a second, I was like, God, that's hard. And then I went, wait a minute.
No, that's very hard for me.
Well, I say 2. There's one that's on the tip of my tongue. It doesn't matter. I'm not playing.
I cannot think of. Okay, I'm gonna try that, but I can't think of the other one. I'm just gonna write it down, and hilarity will ensue later.
Sure. Adam, was that hard?
I think if I just hope the name is right, because I remember the name of the thing that affects these people, but I don't know if I assume it's also the name of the species.
Okay, well, we'll see what you're talking about.
I
bet it's so obscure I have to look it up. I won't even remember it. Adam, go ahead and give us the next category, series and number. God, I did it again!
Let's do it. Number 9.
Number 9!
And
non-Starfleet. Let me go ahead and read each one as we go. Non-Starfleet human characters. Non-Starfleet human characters.
And then H.
H is gonna be Voyager.
And number 10. A10.
Number A10. 1.
Oh.
One non-humanoid. Excuse me, not non-humanoid. One non-Starfleet human character from Voyager. A human character that shows up in Voyager, but is not a Starfleet officer.
This is
I got a funny one too.
a weird, scare one.
All right. Brandon, punch it, sir.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're still typing.
Yeah, I just wanted to get question 5 prepared here. We're gonna go with 5.
I'm not trying to rush you. Thanks for doing that, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
Brother or sister characters. Characters that have a brother or sister. You guys just bear with Brandon. He's writing these out for me.
Yeah.
I could be doing that, but then there would be lots of typing, and it would annoy people. Go ahead, Brandon.
Okay, we're gonna go with C.
C. So brother or sisters from TOS.
Oh, bollocks.
Well, there's no more 5s, so that's good. What number do you want?
Oh, A1.
A1. Ah, my favorite steak sauce. 2.
2.
That's not too
These
bad.
are brother or sister characters to the main.
No, it can go either way. It needs to be anybody that we know has brothers or sisters.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty darn simple.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Hmm. Sure.
Because I'm not thinking of anybody.
But I mean, you can use main characters.
Yeah, I'm still drawing a complete blank.
Okay. That just means Brandon's not seeing enough TOS.
Pretty much.
And we're not counting the movies as part of TOS, are we? Are they a separate category?
That's sticky. With this, I would say that's fine because it's in the general canon, right? So it's a character that ultimately that would be like saying in TOS is Kirk from Iowa. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna say Kirk is from Iowa. You know what I mean? Just in general. So yeah, and that makes this way easier.
Because it's like they still had the sibling even during the time of TOS. You know, it's
yeah,
not like that was it.
I mean, even if retroactively it was a dumb ad, and it was a dumb ad, but you know, even if certain books want to consider 5 non-canonical, and not anything that happened, but a movie that someone on another planet made for bread and circuses made about the TOS cast, which is the best, by the way. That's in the Kirk autobiography. That Star Trek 5 is reduced to a movie that they made on the bread and circuses planet. It's fantastic. I wonder if that one had the gargoyles at the end. Brandon, you picked this last time, right? So Adam, go ahead.
Okay. Number 6.
Number 6. We're looking for first season episode titles.
And B.
First season episode titles from the movies. Well, that makes no sense at all.
You want me to pick a different one?
No, we'll just say pick a different one, and we'll say movies is whatever the next thing is that comes up.
Brandon picked.
I think that's the only thing I did that screwed up like that. God, I'm an idiot. DS9 or Voyager. First season episode titles from DS9 or Voyager, and the number
and A8.
A8. 1.
Oh.
That's pretty easy. Not too bad. So whatever the next thing is that pops up, 2, 3, 4, 7, will be from movies. Okay, Brandon, whenever you're ready, buddy.
Yeah. So this one's just gonna be movies. So let me put that in there. Okay. So 3.
Okay, so from movies, we're looking for 31. From movies,
section,
we're looking for female alien characters. And number?
Number, Brandon?
He's typing.
That's gonna be Adam. A7.
A7. 3.
3.
Wow, that's rough. I can think of at least 2 right off. I'm sure there are 3.
Can I repeat answers from previous things?
For the sake of this, I guess. Yeah, I suppose that's okay.
Well, technically, the answers come from 2 different places, even though they're the same.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you didn't have to, but yeah, that's fine. It's not rapid fire track. That's fine. Oh, you know what? That's actually easier than I'm thinking. Because it's not exclusive to movies. It can be characters that showed up in other things. So, yeah. Just female aliens that were in movies. That's actually really easy. Adam and I could sit here and do 7 or 8.
Well, yeah.
Lewis Cox just threw in another $5 super chat. Now, Lewis, well, we don't usually talk about Star Wars and Star Trek Club. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. That's why I have this shirt. No, I haven't seen the new Mandalorian, and it was great. And he says it blew his mind. Yeah, I know a lot of people are freaking out about the reveal at the end of that, and I won't spoil anything. But I actually was not all that surprised by it. Like, it's exciting. I'm stoked moving forward, and I thought the big guest star on that was amazing. I was really excited about that, and it did not disappoint. But the reveal, not a big surprise to me. I kind of thought that would come up at some point. Yeah. Particularly because in recent EU stuff, it has been, it's been a thing we've been doing. So, yeah. But it's awesome. It's exciting, certainly.
I didn't end up having to repeat answers because that was easier
that
than
was
I thought
really
it was
easy.
too.
Yep. Okay, sorry, Adam, go ahead and give us a category, man.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2! We are 3 away, guys. We're almost there. One-word episode titles. One-word episode titles.
Oh, boy. And let's see. D.
D. For TNG.
Oh, that's not hard.
No, it's not. There's a lot of them.
And A9.
A9. We're looking for 2 of those.
Okay.
I will say I've been enjoying Mandalorian so much, I kind of wish that I had been reviewing it all along. Although it is, I mean, I'm sure I would come up with plenty of things to say, but it's a lot of gushing probably. But like, it's such a simple show. I wouldn't have a lot of analysis until I got to the end of the season, probably. Okay, you guys good?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to just like sit here waiting on nothing.
No, I only could think of one word episode title from TNG.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know why.
Well, you've got time, so maybe another one will hit you in the next over the next
exactly.
2, Brandon. 4 or 7, sir?
7.
7.
Because
what?
Because 7 is awesome.
Okay.
Starships or planets? Starships or planets? So real broad.
Okay.
E or G, sir?
Oh,
I'm sorry, you're typing.
Yes. It's gonna be E.
E. TOS or TNG? Ships and planets, TOS or TNG? That's real open-ended. And number
A4.
A4. We need 2 of those. Ships or planets? And you could do a ship and a planet, or 2 ships, 2 planets. The or should say and or, I suppose. I will take any combination. I wanted to have some easy stuff in here, too. And, of course, that could have been harder, depending on the show. But when you get 2 in there...
And the last one.
Yeah, last one. Sorry, we're still waiting for Brandon, it looks like.
I'm good.
I want to make sure you guys have enough time on these.
Yeah,
okay. Thanks, everybody, for bearing with us on this. I know it's a lot of sitting around and writing. Club meetings are different than normal videos we do.
The second episode hit me.
I try to keep... Oh, good! Way to go. I try to keep it as exciting as I can, but there's going to be some dead space here and there. Okay, so 4G and A3. Here we go. You guys are looking for alien artifacts or weapons. Alien artifacts or weapons from the TOS movies.
Hold on. I'm typing that.
Okay.
And how many?
So good.
From where?
So good luck on that.
TOS movies?
TOS movies. And you need 1.
It was alien.
Oh, that's yeah. Well, once you say alien,
Well, I mean,
is anything immediately coming to me on this?
I mean, yeah. For me,
Really?
I mean, if you want to, you could call that an artifact, but
We'll see what he's come up with.
I don't know either. This will count because it's debatable.
right. Mine's debatable. I'd say.
All right. Let me just jump back to my regular slide here. Okay, let's see how everybody did. Feel free as we go along, if you're watching live, to put in your answers as we go. For each of these, Brandon is going to remind us what we were looking for, and then we'll go around the room and find out what you guys wrote down. Brandon, what was our number 1, sir?
So this may be the one where I got the least amount on, but it was non-humanoid species or creatures from Enterprise.
We needed 3 of them. 3 of those. That's tough, yeah. What'd you come up with?
Insectoid Xindi.
Insectoid Xindi. Mm-hmm.
Period.
That's what he had. He had Insectoid Xindi. All right. Adam, what did you have on that?
Well, I don't know if you're going to count this. I said avian Xindi and whale Xindi because they're separate.
Yeah.
They're technically separate species, yeah.
I don't know if they're really were they ever revealed as this in the episode. It's been a while since I watched it. The Organians, because they were in the episode where they're having the conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they're there. Like we don't see them in energy form, but we know they're non-humanoid. They're there. Yeah, sure. Right, you could have said Tholian. You could have said Gorn.
I forgot about the Tholians.
Oh, Gorn too. Well,
same episode, in fact. Yeah, that's Intermere Darkly. Yeah. That was not quite as hard as you think if you know the whole of that show.
That's true.
There's some others. Oh, you could have. Did I say creatures? Yeah, you could have said Salot.
Oh yeah.
You could have said that too. Yeah. So there's some mainstream stuff you could have thrown in. HB Haga says beagles. Okay, so that's an amusing joke, but whenever we say species of creatures, we always mean alien. We don't. Yeah. We always mean alien. It has to be a thing made up for Star Trek. Yeah, that's just a given inside the confines of what we do here. Okay, Brandon, what was our number 2 there, man?
Our number 2
and if other folks throw some stuff out, we'll read them. Go ahead.
Was we needed 5 villain characters from TNG or Voyager.
That was one of the best places the 5 could have come up, especially because you got 2 series there. So I bet you came up with 5, Brandon.
So I said Lon Suitor.
Are you sure?
Maj Kala.
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah.
And I went with
both shows.
Lursa and Bator.
And Bator. Yeah, see? No problem. Simple as that. Adam, what'd you get for us?
I combined them. I just said Dura Sisters.
That's funny.
So he said 6. So what else did you have?
Seska.
Yeah.
Ardra.
Ooh. Yeah, Devil's Due.
Damon Bach.
Yep.
And Lore.
That episode in season 7 friggin' sucks, man.
Was Suspiria the name of the other caretaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could have said that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other Nacine. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, the Nacine.
Oh, the Nacine, yeah.
The Nacine were
non-corporeal.
Those are
that rock.
Those were great. Good job, guys. Yeah. I was glad that's where the 5 fell. Because I was nervous about that. I was afraid it would go somewhere where there wasn't hardly 5.
What if it had shown up on the alien artifacts from TOS movies?
That would have been unfortunate. When I wrote in TOS movies, I was not thinking about that clue. Brandon, give us our number 3.
Number 3, we needed 2.
As I go through puberty.
We needed 2 one-shot species from DS9.
That was tough.
I don't think these are right, but I wrote Tosk and Alamarine.
Tosk is good. Alamarine's not a species.
That's the game.
Not a species, that's the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't remember the species.
That was the other one I thought of, but
that's the one where I said hilarity.
The name of the species. Yeah.
I don't remember their name.
We're all cracking up. I used to. It's in there. It's not coming to me right off. The Wadi just came to me. That's what it is. Yep. Adam. What 2 did you write down?
So I wrote down the Dozai. Those are the people that Quark sold the Tulaberry wine to that first told him about the Dominion. Mm-hmm. And they're the kind of weird blue and red with red lines on their face. And then the Teplin, they are the people who had the blight, the plague that Bashir, the Dominion, infected them with. And Bashir
I never remember the name of that.
Yeah, I think that's what that was the name of it, Teplin Blight, so I assume that's the name of the species, too.
I would assume that, too. That's a reasonable assumption. I'm not going to look that up. I'll just give it to you. That's a reasonable assumption,
Yeah.
Even if we're wrong, I don't care right now. If we find out later, we'll just never use it again. Because you go to that quite a bit. You'll just never use it again after we've looked it up. Okay, Brandon, what are we, number 4?
Number 4.
All right, go ahead.
We needed 1 non-Starfleet human character from Voyager.
Well, that's not too hard.
No, but will you take this answer? I said Sir Isaac Newton.
No, I wouldn't take that answer. That was a hologram.
No, he appears.
No, Q pulled him from...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. That's fair. That was not a hologram. Yeah, okay, that's cool. You don't have to resort to that though. There's some like present day easy stuff.
Are.
Go ahead, Adam.
This is a real random one.
Oh God.
Mark, Janeway's boyfriend.
That was the first thing that came to me. That's what I would have said. As well.
Nice.
Yeah, I would have also said that. Yeah.
That's good. Booth.
I'm glad nobody said Boothby because I wouldn't have counted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, that's what I thought you were gonna say. I was like, nope,
No.
won't count that. It's not really him. Okay, number 5.
Number 5, we needed 2 brother or sister characters from TOS. Oh, I came up with Spock and Cybok.
Well, Cybok's not in TOS, so you
But
can't say Cybok.
You did say could be also in the movies.
That's not what I said. What I said was, if the fact that he has a brother is brought up in a movie, you can still say the
but it has
character.
to be from-
But Cybok's not in TOS.
No, I know that.
The only reason you can say Spock is because of Star Trek V. Spock's in TOS, so you can say it. That was the point we were making.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't say Cybok. He's not in TOS.
All right.
Adam, what did you say?
I was gonna guess Cybok too. I thought that's what we.
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's the
But the
impression I
conversation
got.
we had was not what you thought the conversation we had was.
guess.
You can say Spock, but you can't say Cybok. He's not in that show.
Okay.
It's characters
Well,
from TOS that are brothers. Spock
also
is a
said
brother. We
George
just don't
Kirk.
find out about it till later. That's why he counts.
I said George Kirk. That was my other answer.
Yeah, but you also could have just said Captain Kirk because he's George Kirk's brother.
Oh.
Like
I guess you could
that's how easy that ends up writing.
Characters that
Yeah.
have siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you had to do.
Who
It's not
else
that-
has a sibling besides that we know about?
Oh boy, I don't know. I was really hoping that would come up for one of the later shows, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff. Like I'm sure there's some like one-off characters that are siblings that I'm not thinking of, right?
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Number 6.
Number
Brandon.
6, we
Yeah.
needed 1 first season episode title from DS9 or Voyager. I said Caretaker.
Sure, Adam.
I said Duet from Deep Space Nine.
That's the best episode of that season.
Yeah.
Yep. Almost universally heralded as the best episode of that season.
Yeah.
Brandon, number what? 7? 8? Where are we?
Number 7.
Number 7. Go
That's
ahead.
going to be 3 female alien characters from the movies. I said Savick, Valeris, and Guinan.
Yep. Good job.
Ended up
I
being
said
way
Sa-
easier.
I said Savick, Ilea, and Valeris.
Yep.
I almost said Ilea.
Yeah, that all works. I would have thrown Mardia in there.
Mardia.
Brandon, number 8.
Number 8. 2 one-word episode titles from TNG. I said Tapestry and Brothers.
Yeah, there you go. Brothers. How
That's the one that
ironic.
came to me.
Others.
Adam.
Disaster and Schisms.
Oh, wow. You guys had entirely different ones. That's cool.
There's a lot of one.
This is
episode
interesting.
titles for
Nobody
that
in the
show.
comments is writing any of theirs, so I'm wondering if anybody played, or if they just had a hard time, or if they just don't want to share. Brandon, number 9.
Number 9. We needed 2 starships or planets from TOS or TNG.
That should be pretty easy.
So I said the Pegasus and Forcus 3.
Forcus 3. Forcus 3 is my favorite ship, and Pegasus is my favorite planet. Adam.
I said the Botany Bay.
Botany Bay?
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. That's from a movie. Oh, wait, no,
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
they show it in the show.
No, you're right. It's in Space Seed. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
well then I don't know.
No, that's fine.
So they don't
Obviously.
show this, but they mention it at the end of the episode.
Okay, what is it?
The same episode, SETI Alpha 5, as they said they're going to put them down on the 5th planet of the SETI Alpha.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, they don't
Okay.
show a lot of planets they go
They
to
didn't
in
show
TOS.
Forcus
Yeah.
3 either.
No, that's true. They didn't show Forcus 3. No, I'll take
But
mentions.
it is a
that's fine.
planet
Yeah.
from, there. So, okay. So number 10.
Yeah.
This is a weird one.
We needed the 1 alien artifact from the TOS movies, and
Yeah.
I contend it could be an alien artifact, the whale probe.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. I mean, it is a probe. No, I
Yeah,
take
but
take
it's an
that.
artifact.
I take that.
Yeah,
Sure.
Cool.
Well, then mine, I don't know, because it's become kind of part alien. This has been modified. I said V'ger.
No,
because
I
it
take
was-
V'ger.
yeah, I almost
Yeah.
went with V'ger
I mean,
too.
V'ger is
Yeah.
an entity as much as it's an artifact, but that's
Right.
fine. Yeah. I mean, I played pretty loose on that because I didn't really expect TOS movies to
one
show
to
up for
go
that.
for that.
Thank God it wasn't 3. So yeah, that's great. Nicholas, welcome, man. Nicholas says he knows absolutely nothing about Star Trek. but thought he would pop up in the chat. Yeah, or the wrong place, depending. But obviously we welcome everybody, and I hope you enjoy the episodes if you stick around and watch them with us. So, Lewis Cox had a $5 super chat. He wanted us to talk about our favorite Starfleet ships, and I'm sure Brandon has an opinion.
Oh, man.
Do you have an opinion, Brandon?
I've always loved the Miranda-class starships.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite. I'm also very, very partial to Voyager. I like that show, but I love that class of ship.
Would you like it less if the nacelles didn't do that? Like, is that
Probably.
one of the coolest things about it?
It is very cool.
And do you like that it lands?
So the landing is kind of interesting, how the struts come out, and I as a science vessel, you would want that, right?
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Want to land on it, so that's just really cool.
Topple over. It seems very front heavy.
Well, yeah, but
it has a thing that pops out on the front and then it sits.
I thought it was only on the back. I thought
does it not?
No, the front saucer doesn't have one, but you know.
But it should.
It's understood.
Yeah. Oh, I just assumed it did. I forgot it doesn't. Yeah, now I'm thinking back to the two-parter between 2 and 3. I guess it doesn't.
It should, but think about the impracticality of that on a ship like that. You would have to have something that's really long and huge. So what it's basically doing
is it would be hard to make it recede up into it, right?
Using the thrusters, anti-grav, thrusters.
But I don't think it's using them to stay upright the entire time, is it?
I don't know.
Because you don't get the sense when they land in
that they're using them.
Why can't I think of the name of that?
The Demon class planet.
No. I'm talking about the first big time they land when the Kazon throw them on a planet. I can't.
Oh,
the two-parter. Basics. Thank you. Yeah. I don't think in Basics it's like got thrusters constantly going.
I don't think so
like
either.
The whole ship seems like it's almost like
it
not off,
but
like they're
wouldn't
not
be back
using
heavy either. I don't know. Those nacelles may weigh a lot.
Well.
So yeah.
I like the Constitution class. the original.
That's classic, Adam.
And also the refit from the movies is pretty good, pretty awesome too.
So I'm ridiculous at this point, just design wise. I can't help myself. I think my favorite ship, again, just design wise, is an XL1, and I don't love it for that time period because it's too based on 24th century, and they just straight up rip off Akira class. So I guess I have to say my favorite is Akira class, but it wasn't until that because I hadn't seen it much. But I finally got my hands on a toy of it recently, or I guess last year, and I always wanted that. And after I had it and set it up, I was like, God, that looks really good. Like I guess that's my favorite. But yeah, I love that design. It's cool. It makes no sense for predating Constitution, but at least for a 24th century ship, it's really cool.
I also really like the Delta Flyer, just because it's personally built by someone who was a big fan of like old cars and stuff. So they kind of made it the hot rod.
I think they get really hokey with all that, but
I mean, it is hokey, but
I don't love the look of it personally. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind flying around.
I think the runabout is cooler. I have a Christmas ornament of both it and the runabout from back in the day that Hallmark released. But I think the runabout looks better.
It's part of that whole Voyager thing and like I get at this point like all hope for what I would have wanted from that show was lost, but like it's just too sleek. You're stranded in the Delta Quadrant and you don't have any help from anybody. It would be really nice if things you built reflected that in some way, just visually.
I also don't understand. Didn't they have supposedly they never mentioned it really? There's another kind of captain's yacht or shuttle thing on the front of the ship. You see it.
They never use it.
Why didn't they just use that?
I don't think.
I assume it's bigger than a shuttlecraft. But maybe not.
Well, anyway, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Let's look up the episode number real quick for our first episode tonight. We're watching Mourns for Adonais from TOS. Second season, I want to say.
Yes.
As soon as one of us has a number for you, we'll let you know. And then we'll take a 5-minute break. Episode 2 of Season 2 of the original series. So if everybody will pull that up on your Netflix or your Blu-rays, however you want to watch it, get it at timestamp 0, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Adam, see you in a minute, man. And we're back.
Hello.
All right, folks, we're about to watch some Who Mourns for Adonis. Are you ready, Adam?
Yeah, can you, when you get a chance, flip me back to the other camera view?
Oh, I forgot. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You were actually wrong about that, Brandon. About what he could see. He actually couldn't see us.
Oh,
because we were still screen sharing. Can you see us now?
Oh.
Yeah, I can see you.
Yeah. So
I could see you once you flip back. I actually could see you up in a little tiny bubble up in my corner for some reason.
Oh, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps the camera on, but not full screen. Yeah. Okay.
So
now we're just talking about Skype. No one cares. Anyway,
the first time that I saw this name written down, I pronounced it. I know it's Adonis, but I'd never seen it, so I pronounced it Adonais.
Right.
I did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it for years. Really, until the Creed movies. Then I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. That's never been how it's pronounced. Okay. Yeah. Because the protagonist of that is called Adonais.
Right.
And it's spelled the same way because obviously, because it's the other word for Apollo. Is everybody ready? We're gonna get into some Greek mythology and see what the origins of Greek mythology are according to Star Trek. Sorry, what?
I said, and the Rocky movies.
And the Rocky movies, yeah. Exactly. Is everybody ready? You should be at Season 2, Episode 2 of the original series. It's Who Mourns for Adonis. If you need a timestamp as we go, let me know. I'll throw it in the chat. And let's go ahead and get straight into it. Get it past menus and everything. Timestamp 0. However you're watching it. I always say that. Make sure you're always watching the remasters with us because they're different lengths. That's what we're always watching. And get ready to press play when I say now. Here we go, everybody. Everybody, please press play right now. Burp, 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 burp. Oh, no, it's the other one. No, 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 no.
Pollock's 5.
Potluck 5.
This is yet another episode where Scotty has an unhealthy relationship with a woman. Yeah. And
he has a love triangle with a god.
Yeah.
Never thought you'd see that.
I always thought McCoy's scrubs were cool. How they're shiny compared to the matte of the regular uniform and stuff.
I'm sorry, I was reading a comment. I missed the last thing you said. Sorry about that. What do you think of Palamas?
She's okay. She's interesting. It would have been interesting to see her come back. Her job is kind of similar to Marla MacGyver's job, it seems like a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, that's an interesting parallel. One of them doesn't go off, but is tempted.
Right.
And one of them does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also, it's interesting because, they've got flings with historical figures, one of which you thought was mythological, the other one you knew was historical.
Right.
But originally, if memory serves, there was supposed to be a reveal in this that she actually impregnated Palamas. And it was never filmed, but there is audio recording now that was found and put in the Roddenberry Vault Blu-ray. Watch that if you haven't, because it's really interesting and enlightening, and has some great interviews. And background footage and stuff. But there is audio recording of their rehearsing that scene. It was almost filmed.
Interesting.
So we have evidence of it now. For a long time it was a rumor, but it is real. Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
I think there's several sequel novelizations that pick up on that as a sequel.
I think they also abandoned it in the Star Trek Continues series, right? That didn't fall up on that idea, did it?
So yeah, I don't think so.
Here comes a hand.
Yeah.
Here comes a hand.
Whose hand is that?
It's Apollo's hand.
No, but
it's not anybody's hand. It's an energy hand.
Yes.
You know what? Actually, I knew the answer to that at one time, and I can't remember. I don't know who on the crew that's somebody's hand. I don't remember. I don't remember.
So it's basically a tractor beam.
Well, this is remastered. I don't know whose hand this was.
Oh, that's true. The remaster would probably be somebody else's hand.
It's
Oh,
Okuda's
maybe,
hand.
unless it's all CG.
Maybe it's no one's hand.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. That's an angle of the bridge you don't always see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh!
I wasn't prepared, Captain. Hey, you're not usually standing on that side of the rail.
Oh, they're
are ya?
not just still.
Nope.
They're dead still.
I love these kinds of hokey teasers. Who wouldn't keep watching after Here Comes a Hand?
They were really slow on the evasive maneuvers. Like, you see
Well,
a giant
hey,
hand coming at you.
Hey, you would also be taken aback if there was a giant hand in space coming at you, Brandon.
I'd also be in full reverse. Like, get us out of here, Sulu.
Phil, sorry to be so trivial, but I love Chekhov's haircut.
Yeah, I was about to say that earlier and I forgot. It's
Well,
hilarious.
this would have been one of Chekhov's first
when he was
episodes.
wearing a wig.
Yeah,
Because he
that's
had
not
to-
even a
He had
haircut.
to wear a
So
wig when he first
is the
started.
second.
He was supposed to look like one of the monkeys,
Yeah.
because they thought it would bring in more of a female audience and just the kids in general.
And also cashing in on the whole Beatles mania thing.
Right. Yep.
And no, I was going to ask you: is the second episode not the second filmed for this season?
No,
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up.
The Cat Paw was the first episode filmed. and
Generally,
not
it's
the first
all over the
episode
place.
aired.
Brandon,
Yeah, and I knew that, but I wasn't like. Sometimes I bet they like fit the right one. If like.
And if you watch it in production order, as I do, his hair doesn't go back and forth like it does in the
Right.
broadcast order, or it's like the wig and not the wig.
That helps. Ooh,
That's
the
cool.
remaster for this looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
it's all Ripley
Hand
like energy.
is holding the ship.
It's a parking orbit.
Forced parking orbit. Well, it's not even an orbit because it's holding in
Geostationary.
place. Right. Yeah.
Genornium. What did they say? The beta genornium system?
Phil's right. That's also the final boss from Super Smash Brothers. It looks like was that Master Hand? Master Hand.
You know, being that was a geostationary thing, if they'd been actually technically spatially correct about it, that planet should be rotating. So if you're geostationary, the star field would be rotating in proportion to how we're looking at the planet.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of the planet rotating to the star field.
So they're just using words. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, they're up there and they're stuck there. We should be watching the star field move, and they didn't do that.
Okay, sure. We also, to be fair, never see the ship actually go to warp or anything in the show, so yeah.
You know,
And
I
there
never
was
really thought about that.
when we remastered this show, there was a lot of talk about just how many liberties they were going to take and how far they'd go, and there was a lot of talk that they wanted to be as faithful to what it originally looked like as possible, but some of the liberties they didn't take weren't because they wouldn't, it was just because of budgetary constraints, because they were given so little to work with. It's amazing it looks as good as it does with as little money and as little time as they were given. I've listened to a couple of interviews from the guys who worked on that in lengthy podcasts about it. If you go look up Mark Altman's, and I've mentioned this before, his podcast Inglorious Trek Spurts, which I recommend everybody go listen to. There's at least one, if not two, podcasts with one of the guys who did that, who worked on that, and it's really interesting. And he talks about that kind of line that they straddle
on the view screen. How many times does that happen in Star Trek? A lot.
Where it's just a disembodied head in space? Not a lot.
Well, not just in space, but like on the view screen.
Well, there's a lot of heads on view screens, but they're not usually disembodied, though. There's not a lot of examples of that.
I guess
even Abraham Lincoln is sitting in a chair.
I can't. That's not even this
episode.
Not
even on the view.
I thought you were talking about just TOS.
Oh, just
you just
in
Star
Trek, yeah.
Oh, just in Star Trek overall. I mean, yeah, there's more examples, but not a ton, and nothing else is immediately coming to me. I guess the Cytherians, but was that even on the view? That wasn't even on the view screen.
Yeah,
that's in the middle of the bridge.
That's
just
their
disembodied
heads.
Like, you said on view screen.
I know I did, but that
it doesn't happen that much.
I fixed that caveat.
Yeah, there's only really two things, like real liberties I can think of that they took when they did the. It was like in the scene where they're walking to the place where they do the ritual and Amok time.
Mm-hmm.
They changed that up so that it's like actually it looks like it's like elevated now and like a little on a mountaintop and stuff that wasn't there before. And
Yep.
then in Operation Annihilate, they show the little probes that that make the aliens.
There's a few map paintings that they extend pretty hard. The one at the beginning of Menagerie is a lot more elaborate.
Yeah, that's more elaborate, definitely.
But I don't consider those giant liberties.
I don't think that's a liberty.
I would argue that those things, or even having that thing in Amok time being more elevated, like that's all stuff I would think they would have done had they had the ability.
If they had the opportunity or the budget.
And we can argue where that line is, of course, but
right.
The only thing that really matters is that it looked good and it doesn't take you out. You
right.
know? Mr. Roboto, $2 super chat. Would Green Lanterns freak out Starfleet? Go read the Green Lantern Star Trek crossovers. There's 2 of them in IDW.
I don't understand why the pressure's making the ship pressure go up when he's like squeezing it or whatever.
He's squeezing the ship.
But yeah, I wouldn't think any more than anything else. Green Lanterns would not be the weirdest thing that they've seen, certainly.
Why did the air pressure go up?
Although the biggest thing that you'd wonder about with the Green Lanterns would be if they're policing the whole galaxy, how come we've just now met them? That would be the thing you'd have to wonder about that.
Pan.
That's really racist. Pan bored me. He had ears like yours. They were boring ears. So this is one of those ideas that arguably is really cool once or twice, but Star Trek does it way too many times ultimately, where there is some kind of extraterrestrial explanation for friggin' everything.
Right. Yeah, like Leonardo da Vinci and...
yeah. Yeah, I mean, even TOS had quite a few of them, and you had Rajak, but then once you get to DS9 and Voyager, I mean, there's so many of them. You have to have an extraterrestrial explanation for like why Amelia Earhart didn't come back to Earth.
Right.
I mean, just so many
explanation for how
or come back to Earth.
Gravity
disappeared. I realized that she wasn't in space at the time.
What was it? How Newton discovered gravity with a cube.
Yeah, just everything. Yeah, but I mean, I like the idea that there is. That very often, mythology is based in fact in the first place.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot for Greek mythology specifically because it's so specific. A lot of that stuff, reads like somebody was there and actually saw it. Like, obviously not, but it's a plausible explanation for it. In the same way that like aliens built the pyramids is a plausible explanation for that.
Right. I don't think this guy... I think I read that this guy didn't like this outfit he had to wear.
Well, that's fair, because it's hardly clothes. That's probably why. He was a stage actor, and he continued working on the stage after this and did very little TV stuff as far as I know.
The only ever thing I've ever seen him in, besides this, was an Outer Limits episode, and he actually gets killed, like, right at the beginning of it. And your father's father.
Chekhov looks like he's trying to be discreet, but he's like...
Chekhov's holding the thing upside down.
Is he?
He's holding the tricorder.
He's just real nervous.
Backwards.
He's scanning himself.
Well, I mean, I just blame the producers for not teaching him, for not giving him enough of the series Bible, because he's new. He just got on the show. I don't know what the production order is on this. I don't know how far in they shot this.
I don't
but
know. I don't think it's too far.
Behind him.
It couldn't have been more than 4 or 5, I wouldn't think. Stephen Murphy, Star Trek never encountered a Superman superhero type character. Superheroes aren't a thing in Star Trek, I guess, except if it was fiction. Now, that is a true statement. At the time for that to have happened, I mean, I'm talking in the 60s, And you're right, like it never happens. And I could totally see the Star Trek story where you go to a planet that looks like a Gotham or a Metropolis or something. But if you'd done it in the 60s, it would have seemed like such weird kiddie stuff, especially with, because, you know, comics were considered for children at the time, by and large. And at the exact same time, you have Batman on. So it would have been a really weird thing to do.
You would have wanted to see that Batman crossover, Captain. Don't pretend.
That would have been interesting.
Honestly, I would not have wanted to see that. It would have been a little too goofy.
It would have been weird.
Yeah.
If it had happened, would you have wanted Batman on Star Trek or them on Batman?
It's a good question. I think it'd be better if it was a time travel thing. And you made it a Star Trek episode, probably. Well, no, you could do it either way, I guess. Where, like, you could do a Batman episode where they show up. I could see it either way. Yeah. That still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a good job with that. And yeah, Stephen Murphy, we didn't really talk about that, but yeah, he's still around and he showed up in Star Trek Continues.
We were looking at the Starfield
movie.
Really
good. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they did do that right.
And I think his performance in that Continues episode is better than in this. He just tears it up in that.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that whole thing.
And he's awesome in it. And they have a really interesting reason for him to age. So he comes back in his 70s and plays this character again, and because no one is worshiping him, he's rapidly aging. So they find him again like a few months after this, and now he's an elderly man played by the same actor, 50 years later, and it's so cool.
Didn't we watch that in Club?
Michael Forrest, thank you. Yeah.
In the old Club.
I think we might have watched it in the old Club, yeah. Adam and I reviewed a lot of those episodes.
Yeah.
I don't remember Palamis's first name.
I don't either.
I don't know if she gets one.
I don't think they ever say it. Maybe they do. I can't remember. For some reason, I'm thinking the name Carolyn, but maybe I'm imagining that.
Maybe so, actually. That rings a bell, yeah. I think that's right, now that you say that. I'm sure it comes from Scotty. I'm sure he calls her.
Wrong way.
You're scanning yourself!
Oh, he's doing it too. The director didn't know what was going on.
Nobody knows how to use the tricorders. All the tricorder has told them this entire time is what they've had for breakfast. That's all they know.
Yeah, yeah. That's why he says. That's why he says it reads human, because you're reading yourself. Apollo.
Classic
what?
Shatner.
Yeah.
Reading right there.
But that's impossible. That's the line you need. Right after that.
Do you think any of these plants are real? Or do you think they just went to, like, Michael's or whatever was around back then?
That's what they did. They went to Michael's in 1967.
I will say, I never understood why. They reached out to Earth 5,000 years ago, and and Earth knew of them, and they worshipped them. And they stopped. Why didn't they just reach out to Earth again? Like, keep them apprised of
I've
their
always
knowledge.
Wondered about that myself, yeah.
It's like the whale probe. They got distracted.
But yeah, because they leave. It's like, oh, they're not worshiping us anymore. And they leave. And then, like, it would be really easy to convince even a later generation.
Remind them,
that they are, real and from their mind worthy of being worshipped. They could have made it about technology and science, I guess, but we don't get into that. Where it's like, well, and even then it wouldn't work because it wouldn't fit with our history. So you couldn't say, well, they came back, but no one believed they were gods because they understood that they were aliens. Well, okay, but at that point, like, you can only do that, like, way in the future. You'd have to say that in the 21st or 22nd century, post when the show is made,
right?
That at some point in Earth's history, we already knew about extraterrestrials, and we didn't believe that. But you also still couldn't do that because Kirk is surprised to see him.
Yeah. Carolyn.
Yep, there it is.
Right.
Good job, man. Wow. 10 useless arbitrary points to you, sir.
I don't have time for 1,000 tales.
So I like even.
I deserve more points. Right?
So he's regular sized right now, but his voice.
But he
still
seems
booms.
much bigger to me.
But he's booming.
He's also standing up on a thing, but.
Chekhov, that was a bad way to aim the gun. He looks like a TV cop going like...
we're just lucky he didn't shoot himself with it. We're just lucky he didn't turn the phaser backwards.
He melted that plastic. Oh my goodness.
Impressive. Most impressive. But yeah, you're right, Brandon. I like that his voice is still all boomy. All of these entities always had some kind of, like, technological apparatus. They were never like Q. It was never just they have, except for the Organians. They were that way, but
they all
you had very
some
few
sort of
entities.
Source.
Yeah, you had very few entities who operated just on their own power. They usually had some kind of apparatus. Because he's like that. Trelane, Squire of Gothos, is like that. She's wearing more than Apollo.
Yeah.
Phil says, I kind of wish they'd filmed Scotty in the same filter they filmed her. When Scotty gets the fuzzy footage.
Oh.
That was a good stunt.
Yeah.
So, Adam, do you have a... Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a theory as to why we used Scotty so much more and gave him so much more screen time than we did the rest of the supporting cast? Given that this is about the Triad, and the other cast members would complain that we didn't do enough with them, but they were always intended to be side players. I mean to be fair, in early scripts, a lot of writers try to do more with them, and Roddenberry wouldn't let them, and I think some other producers were that way too. So it's a fair complaint that more could have been done with them, considering we see them every week. And Scotty didn't get a lot of deep character stuff to do, but he was on screen a lot more than anybody else was.
They give him at least a couple episodes that were Scotty-centric, like this one somewhat Scotty-centric, the one, the Lights of Zatar, the Wolf in the Fold.
Regeg, Wolf of the Fold,
yeah. I mean, they're all about him having weird stuff with women, but still...
and never character arcs for Scotty.
That with the other characters. I mean, Uhura never got that. Chekhov never really got that. I don't think Sulu really did either.
No, even Chapel got one.
Bits of moments. Yeah, Chapel got stuff more than
and Rand did too.
Stiff-necked Thistlehead.
But to be fair, both of those characters are in the series Bible as if they're gonna be as much regular side characters that we see all the time as Uhura and Chekhov, and or I should say, at the beginning, Sulu and those guys. And various things happened that changed that, but which I won't get into right now, but. Wanderer, how come this episode is the most remembered in pop culture compared to the Enterprise crew take down gods episodes? Because it's a god in our mythology that you've heard of. I would say, we don't go up against gods as much as we go up against computers in TOS.
Right. And this was the first time they did something like this, where they gave an alien explanation to something from our, history or mythology. And
it was real significant, because you didn't see that done in a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
And that was some very, classic mainstream science fiction stuff done on television for the first time. So you saw that kind of thing in novels all the time.
Right.
So he just asked if he was ready to reverse polarity. Is that some sort of,
polarity?
Polarizing the hull plating,
it's like polarizing the whole plating.
So to get the energy off of the ship so they can move, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know what polarity means in that. It sounds like they're saying sciencey things.
Yeah.
There's Mr. Kyle.
There he is.
He's not down in the transporter room this time.
Is Kyle in the third season at all, or did we stop using him after the season?
Remember him being in the third season.
I don't think Mabanga either. I don't think any of these guys.
I don't think he's only in that one episode.
Mabanga? I thought he was recurring. I thought he was in 2 or 3. Am I wrong?
I think he's only in a private little war.
And then who else did you have? You had Riley, who was in more than one.
Riley, yes.
Right?
Kevin Riley. Kevin O'Reilly.
But it's weird that he's not O'Reilly.
Yeah. He thought he was.
He thought he was.
I love how Spock's got the.
Maybe he has no
dial.
Irish ancestry at
all. He's a German.
That would be the best if we reveal that later. And he starts doing the Chekhov thing where he's like, well, the Irish, you know, invented the printing press or whatever, and so A, nuh-uh, and B, you're not even Irish, dude. You're also Russian. Shut up. I'm sorry, what made it?
Oh, Spock had the old-fashioned navigational thing that he was holding. I love how he has that sometimes. It's like this thing that's got like a compass wheel on it that you turn, and it's got a grid on it. People use him flying airplanes.
I didn't know. I never even seen him hold that before. Wow.
Interesting. Now, I get that you got to distill this for a TV audience, and that even if you're not doing that, you don't have a lot of time to get into the nitty-gritty and specifics of the Greek mythology, but a character like this, even more so than MacGyver's, sounds like she really, like, she's supposed to be the expert, but it sounds like she could have read, like, one 5th grade textbook
right
about Greek mythology and give us everything she gives us in this episode. There's not any real expertise there. It's just, I know who Hera was.
Right.
All right. I bet Kirk also knows that. Like, so far, I feel like Kirk could have done her job as well as she's doing her
Why
job.
is there only one of her? And, like, you think they're exploring new worlds and stuff. She'd be, like, a part of a bigger department or something.
Do you think, though? Because why would they expect to encounter anything like that? Why,
but I
like
mean,
this,
just because she wouldn't encounter this doesn't mean she wouldn't encounter archaeology and anthropology is a broad thing. She could be interested in, study other alien, archaeology and stuff like that.
But how would it help you if you're going to new civilizations you've never been to? Like, are you just looking for things that are similar? Is it like, I can maybe get the universal translator closer to translating this language because it's so close to this other language? Would that be the reason? Because that's all I can think of, is that you could find things that are reminiscent to other things. Because if you're not going to planets you've been to already, knowing the ins and outs of every planet you've been to is not really going to help you when you go to one you haven't been to.
I guess that's true. But it seems like on TNG they did a lot of that stuff where they were encountering,
TNG didn't explore as much as the intro would lead you to believe they were going to.
That's true.
Much of the time they're going to places that people have been to many times before. Boy, you guys enjoy all that fake fruit.
You should take a bite of that.
Looks like they went to a flea market and bought that, Brandon.
Well, Michael.
A little bit.
You guys ever been to like a really big flea market? It never fails. Go into one of those, especially in the South, but even around here in the Midwest. Go to a big like 30, 40 booth or more flea market and count the number of fake fruit that you find. I think my record, I do that every time I go to one of those. I count the fake fruit, and I think my record was like 37 in like different booths, and just all this fake fruit.
The 37s.
Yeah.
Except we don't give you. Except we don't pay you really. But
well, we don't know about that until later, and I don't know. My assumption with the currency in TOS or in Star Trek thing is they're still on some kind of like monetary credit system.
They have to have some kind of credit system
in the 23rd century
in order to deal with at least other species. That, especially that.
How do you trade with anybody if you go to a space station?
Right. They would have to have some kind of. They even have mentioned that at the beginning in Farpoint, when they're on the.
That's a good idea, Scotty.
When it's Farpoint is still the station or whatever, Crusher says, "Here, I'll charge this to my credit account" or something like that.
Well, I mean, we had no idea what things were really looking like at that point at the beginning of TNG, because all those writers were so confused about what Roddenberry really wanted and what his vision was. But I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Scotty violated direct order. Kirk told him no
Yes, he did.
unauthorized action against Adonais.
Yes, he did.
And
but he's just
immediately.
It's a crime of passion, Brandon.
It is a crime of passion,
which gives you a lot more of a sense that he could have done what he was accused of doing in bread and circuses.
And
not bread and circuses. Wolf in the Fold. Right. Wish I'd had the right episode, because I was really happy with my delivery, and then I completely botched the episode title.
Yes, he had total resentment of all women, as they said in that episode multiple times. Like, what the hell does that mean?
Total resentment of all. Well, he clearly just needs therapy. He's got a.
He's phasing like the Traveler.
You can't blame him, man. He's had a bad history with ladies, and he needs to sit in a chair and talk to a shrink for a long amount of time.
How cool is that set, though? Like,
oh, it's great.
It'd be neat to have something like that in your backyard.
Yeah, sure. And then they make it disappear, like a magic
Hollywood
trick.
Movie mogul if you had something like that in your backyard.
Sorry, what is that?
And stuff.
What?
I said you look like a Hollywood mogul or something if you had a bunch of columns in your backyard.
A bunch of marble columns, yeah. And those tables. I put a reflecting pool in. A little secret garden.
Ooh, a secret garden.
Not so secret with the columns extending above those shrubs. Oh, there's wind on the set.
There's wind on the set. Somebody opened the door.
Shaking that tree.
Yeah, I really think it was just somebody bumping into that in the background.
But it's still
why is it shaking? There's no way that somebody's intentionally doing that. That's really funny.
All right, tree shakers, ready? Action.
In that one shot, there was only one.
Maybe they are doing it to simulate wind.
But in that one shot, there was only the one, so they're doing it poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, I don't. That's always been a question. I don't know why anybody in Starfleet had Latinum.
Yeah.
Because Sisko's always got some of that on hand.
But Jake didn't. In Treachery, Faith in the Great River. I mean,
you've got to expect you're still going to come into contact with cultures that do dabble in,
Yeah, so you'd have to have some way of trading with them. So there has to be some kind of credit thing.
Yeah, so it's possible that he gets a salary of that from Starfleet, not to live on, but just so that he can live there and do his job.
Right.
That's probably what it is. But we're never told. You'd think we'd go into that. We're going into so much of the ins and outs of particularly Bajoran culture and even Ferengi. You'd think that we'd know more about how friggin' Starfleet operates.
These circuits. I love these circuits.
That's how they're going to do it in the 24th century, Brandon.
You like that transistors there, Brandon?
They're all the same board, just 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is the same board.
Yeah, they're all the same boards. They're identical.
It doesn't look like that would power a Sega Saturn, much less run the
I want that thing.
Yeah, what is that thing? Cool. It looks like a back computer.
Stenographer's.
A back computer.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. Yeah, and Wanderer, there's some precedent for that. There's some places where Sisko does like trade, or some people trade like random things they have. But like, what would you bring with you in the first place? Like, if you're not about really that much about possessions, it's not like he's got all that much in the first place to trade with.
His prized baseball.
Yeah.
You got humans in this show that are like traders and stuff, but I always got the sense that they weren't really operating within the bounds of the Federation as much. You know, they were kind of out on their own stuff, like people like Harry Mudd and things like that, or Stuart Jones.
Yeah, but Wanderer, I don't know how much it would help to
on the fringe
to like trade a lot of technology with the Ferengi, because there'd be things you wouldn't want them to have. Like there'd be some prime directive issues there. They're not in the Federation, and they're often kind of an enemy species here and there. But the other thing is they have replicators. So like anything that we would allow ourselves to trade with them, they probably have already.
Right.
I would think. But I'm sure there's examples of things where they'll be trading for things where you're like, well, you could just replicate that. So I don't know.
Right.
We're not consistent about that stuff.
Well, they're not even consistent about like what they value. Like within the first episode, in the last outpost, they're talking about humans adorn themselves with jewelry, with gold. It's a wasteful use of a precious metal. But then in Who Mourns for Mourn, Quark is like, worthless gold when he's got the at the end.
Yeah, but like gold pressed latinum, that's a retcon before it's anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Because early on they still act like gold is worth a lot, even in DS9. Like that's a straight up retcon.
I'd still like to know how much little liquid is inside those bars. But they imply
I just found this scene
a
little awkward.
He just pushed her around.
Funny fireworks.
We can tell, like, the script just says, like, yell things.
They were like, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, kill a deer, ha ha ha.
I did it.
God, you've ruined everything. Kirk should have a line somewhere where he's like, why doesn't anyone do what I say? I'm the captain.
He should be like, turn his head to the side like, what? Am I still the captain?
There's a lot of insubordination in this episode.
Kirk's probably like, I should have brought Uhura with me this time. She can play the game.
She doesn't care.
I'm mud.
Yeah, and she's not enamored with Apollo. Like maybe I don't know. I wonder if he had the ability to beam back, if he wouldn't have immediately been like, okay, you're compromised. I'm not using you anymore. I don't care how much you know about Greek mythology. You're done.
Which is not a lot, apparently.
Not any more than
she took a
5th grade textbook
extension course at Starfleet Academy. That was her. It was adult education course.
Her teacher was MacGyver's.
The learning annex.
If they did dismantle the ship to make the things they need on the planet, they could use the power source to manipulate Apollo at that point.
Brave lady.
I also think it's interesting that we do both the Greek and the Roman names, and so the title is one, but they just call him the other one the whole episode. At no point do they ever call him Adonais actually in the episode. I think TOS often went out of its way to not have the episode title quoted in the episode, where it was like they wanted really like classy artistic episode titles. That was a big deal to that series, clearly.
Right. To the point of almost pretension at times.
Often, yes. And Discovery ran with that too much and just straight up went pretentious from the very beginning. They have the worst episode titles of anything I've ever seen.
Because context is for kings.
Context is for...
I'm never going to forget it.
Me neither! And they're still doing it. They're just the worst.
Almost as a god, but not.
So this is basically a story of how you get a mortal, parent to a half god, a demigod. They pick a mortal to have children with.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, he's just going to operate the way
I did back in
the way we're told that the mythological beings operated. Because it turns out they were kind of real. So yeah.
Yeah.
She should watch out too, because that means that if he has the option, he's going to sleep with 6 others at the exact same time. Like you got to keep that in mind, because that was the Greek god thing to do, especially if you're Zeus.
Did you hear him when he pounded on that tricorder? It sounded hollow. It sounded on that communicator. It sounded really cheap.
That was a weird line, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, what is stopping you from putting a different sound effect in?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
Well, I guess time, right? Like, there is very little ADR and stuff in TV of this time in general. Most everything is captured, on set with boom mics.
Right.
And I think this is a great idea.
And I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. Yeah, that's a great line. I think you've forgotten you're a Starfleet officer and you're going to do what I tell you to because I'm the captain.
This is the second one of these ladies I've had do this.
Yeah.
Yes, and a year.
I realized that we're not going to do that in TOS for lots of different reasons. Like, this is an episodic show, and occasionally we'll call back to things, but, like, we're not going to do direct sequels. But it would have been nice if we'd been able to draw the direct parallel. Because you're right, and, like, there are a lot of parallels. I'm noticing a lot more watching this again with MacGyver's and Khan, where he does kind of the same thing with her, where it's like, okay, I'm still superior to you, but you're nearly on my level. Like, he has a line really similar to that.
Nothing less.
I almost understand. I like MacGyver's a lot, and it's not like I don't buy that relationship, but I almost like it and maybe even buy it a little bit more with her, just because, like, yeah, with MacGyver's, you'd be enamored with this character from history that you thought was, you know, dead for the ages and you'd never meet. But with her, it's like, these beings existed.
They're gods.
You know, I've made my life. I've made a career out of studying what I thought was fiction, and it's real.
That'd have to be interesting. Also, wouldn't there be a contingent on Earth that Kirk would know that there'd be people on Earth who'd be willing to do just what this being wants? He could make a deal like, we'll bring you humans that'll worship you.
What are you gonna do with it? No, that would be crazy, Brandon.
That would be insane. And also, Roddenberry's rebuttal to that would be, besides that's insane, would be, well, we're enlightened beyond that. We don't believe in gods at all anymore. There is no religion. I mean, Roddenberry was ultra agnostic, and
Kirk's like, you want people? I can get you people.
Yeah, like, I don't agree with you, Brandon. I think at least Roddenberry would have said, you know, not that his word is law or anything. I mean, this is a show made by a lot of different people. It's very collaborative, but I would think that Roddenberry and other people involved in the show would say, you're wrong. There aren't those people left on Earth. There aren't anybody that would actually worship him at this point.
Yeah, Roddenberry, for his part, says that these people, our heroes, are actually even less evolved than the other people on the Earth. From the forward to the motion picture novelization that
That's true.
So kindly read to us
they've been out there too long. They've been affected by by too many other species. If we went to Earth, we would see beings that are unrecognizable to us. The reason it's fun to watch these characters in space is because space brings them somewhat closer to what we're like. But if we went back to Earth, we're so evolved we wouldn't recognize ourselves.
That was insane.
No, it is insane. Absolutely. I don't believe that. But even beyond Roddenberry's, and this was not true at this point, but his kind of, you know, drinking his old Kool-Aid and all that we've talked about a lot, Brandon, I still, even in a world that made more sense that we would believe, I'm not with you that there would be very many of those people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, because it's not like, even Palamas, it's not like she thinks he's a god and would worship him because of that. It's that she is enamored with him and the fact that he actually really exists, and she would just be willing to do that because she's that impressed with him, and she would, like, make herself inferior to him voluntarily. Not that she actually believes he's a god.
Well, I guess that's more kind of what... I mean, that's not where I started on that whole thing, but you make a good point. But wouldn't there be people like that on Earth who would do his will, you know, just for the chance, you know, to live like that? Like, maybe, I guess I'm thinking more about some of the ideologies we see in TNG, you know, with other settlers and things. But even they, you know, came from an earlier time, you know, brought into the future through, you know.
The problem is that Earth is a utopia.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's in it for them. If you could find a colony somewhere that needed that in their minds, but I wouldn't think Earth.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
But I see what you mean. I'm sorry. I thought you meant that there were people that would, like, actually believe he was a god. But even if you're just saying they like Palamas would be okay with the subjugation because they think their lives would be better, but nobody's hurting on Earth.
Nobody's hurting, but he can offer them an eternity. You know, there's something there.
To do his bidding. I don't know.
But he's not offering more immortality. Is he?
I don't know. That's the thing I couldn't bridge the gap on. He keeps talking about an eternity.
Okay. We've been talking over this. I forgot about that, if that's in there. Well, that's different. I mean, as soon as somebody offers you Fountain of Youth, all bets are potentially off. I mean, if that's on the table, then you might be onto something.
Right. You're very convincing. You look like you're about to cry. That's why I never understood
how Riker could...
You look like you're about to break down.
Carolyn, you will be the god of history. I'm sorry, what?
That's how I never understood how Riker could stand there and, not take Q's offer. Like, I would have to take Q's offer. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm defecting from Starfleet.
Oh, yeah, well, he was certainly tempted.
Thunder.
Certainly, yeah.
I mean, it's not like it wasn't a hard choice, if memory serves. It's also a clunky episode.
It's a tornado.
There's ideas like that, Brandon, that I always wish were somehow done later in the show, so that I could see like the real character that I came to appreciate, like actually make that choice. Because when you're talking Riker in season 2, he's just not fully formed yet. Like I don't know what Riker would do. I saw what that guy would do.
It's very true.
That was actually season 1 Riker.
Oh crap! Was it?
Yeah.
Is it Heightened Q where that happens?
Q appearance.
Oh yeah, that's true. That was like 6 or 7 episodes in.
Yeah. They're lucky they didn't have a wardrobe malfunction with all that wind machine and stuff on.
So now the trees are moving.
She looks like she's about to lose her costume. Oh my gosh.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's not storming over here.
Get to go. And I'm gonna roll.
This is a rolling helmet.
He's gonna jump. Here he goes.
There he goes.
Whoa!
Oh, he didn't roll. He just jumped over it. They didn't even feel the need to replace him with a stuntman.
No. Ooh.
I don't know if the glistening was necessary in the remaster. I don't love that.
Yeah.
I think it looked as good or better before, but I would need to go back and look at it.
More power to the shield.
So, like, just destroy him. I mean, they had no choice, did they?
Well, they're not destroying him. They're just going to blow up his power source. But
they don't know necessarily what that would do to him. He's got that extra.
Well, that never stops Kurt.
I know, and that's what I'm.
No, you're right. That never stops Kurt.
Just do what you have to save yourself. Just destroy an alien artifact too. That qualifies as
did we change the colors and stuff here at all? I think we did.
I don't know.
It's getting yellower than I remember.
Stop. In case you didn't get that.
The temple.
Oh.
Looks like the clock tower.
There it goes.
Kind of. I don't know why we're whispering, but yeah.
She says like the clock tower. Save the clock tower.
Save the clock tower!
That woman died recently.
Yeah, we talked about that on a live show.
Yeah. All those trees are moving now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so goofy looking. I always like the rubble.
This is so
sad. That's good.
It is. No, they do a great job of actually making you sympathize with Apollo. Like, that's one of the things that Star Trek often did really well. In the original series, is it didn't have, this goes without saying, but I mean, it didn't have a lot of like straight up just evil bad guys. Like,
definitely flawed.
You could even. There are even people like Kodos the Executioner that you could sympathize with to some degree, and that guy was a genocidal guy, like maniac, like Daystrom.
Daystrom
is the villain of that episode, and they make you care about him to some degree. And then he gets an institute named after him, which I think is BS, but whatever.
Well, he did invent Duotronics or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay. I guess that was important. Maybe we're enlightened enough that just because somebody does some really
ever did work.
Maybe we're enlightened enough that just because somebody does a horrible crime doesn't mean that we take all their like accolades away. We're like we remember them for everything they were, not just the one thing.
He thought it was gonna work.
Well, that makeup for the head trauma looks really good. I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
On Palamas?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
I didn't either. I'm coming. Name them all.
Yeah, now I want to watch that continues episode again. I'm going to assume that there's a novel somewhere where we see more of the Pantheon.
Yeah.
I bet that happens, where like maybe we contrive some way for them to come back. Because it's interesting that like they're not dead, they're just not worshipped anymore.
They're just
so they have
in
to
a different dimension or something, I guess. Different realm, yeah.
So, how could Scotty compete with a god?
Well, he can't, is the thing.
Yeah.
I always wanted to see the aftermath of that, too. Like, isn't that really awkward for him and Palamas? Yeah. There should be a scene where he's just like, okay, I'm not really that interested in you anymore. And he just walks away, like...
Oh, boy. Yeah. It's cold.
Well, yes and no, though. Like,
yeah, I know, but, like...
I'm not going to compete with a god. I don't even care if he went back to his realm. Done. So what do you think? Yeah, Kuhn's really important. So what do you think, Adam? Should they have left in that twist about her being pregnant?
Well, I don't think it would have gotten by the network. Honestly,
okay, but all things being equal, let's say they could have done it.
Equal, maybe. It could have been interesting. After the
show.
Do
you like that?
Her connection
I like that
to him
idea.
and stuff. Yeah.
I would want to keep it ambiguous, or not ambiguous. You know she has it. Like I wouldn't have necessarily even wanted a follow up about it. Just plan it there.
Right.
Sure, but I mean that's a demigod at that point. According to...
Is it or isn't it, though? Because he needs a machine for his powers.
No, he doesn't have a machine.
Has an
He's got an
organ.
Oh, that's right.
That channels that energy.
I'm sorry, we were talking alive.
So
what exactly does the temple do?
I don't know. It was like a focusing thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it is part.
It's like they're of the planet. I think it focuses the energy from the planet. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying.
Many things in Star
if
Trek
the demigod had the same organ or a smaller version of it or something, and it gave them,
would he be able to do it?
But would it be able to do it if they never really understood how to make the machine that channeled it?
I think that. Well, okay, that's interesting, but they would know that they were of this origin, and they might come back and find out more. You know, they
back to what? There's rubble.
But back to the planet.
Right, but I don't think it's the planet that has anything to do with it. He knew how to build it, so he built it. Like, without him there, I don't know how they'd ever figured out. Moreover, why would anybody necessarily want him to be able to channel that? He'd have to go by himself to do it, and I think there's every likelihood that he would be that he would be brought up not knowing about any of that.
That's interesting.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's not any real reason that he would ever necessarily know he could do any of that. I don't know. Throwing an apparatus in there is weird. That's a case, and I feel this way about Trelane as well, but that's a case where I think that we throw in a machine just to make it easier for our heroes to win. And I wish there was some other kind of device that we come up with so that they can actually beat him with their wits instead of just, well, there's this thing we can blow up. That's the thing I've never really cared for.
But it's weird, though, in Squire of Gothos, if that whole thing behind the mirrors is kind of a red herring because Kirk destroys it, but then Trelane is still able to, like, go after him, do that whole...
I don't know what's going on with all that. and then his parents are floaty energy beings.
His parents show up at the end, yeah, and then Kirk's not playing his game or whatever,
Mr. Roboto, $2 super chat. Does Giant Spock count as a god? If he was on a planet that believed in him as a god, yes.
That's Spock 2.
The Wrath of Spock.
Spock 2, The Wrath of Spock.
Well, we're going to take another break here right after we spin the wheel. So let's find out what else we're watching this evening.
Do it.
Nobody go nowhere. We're going to watch another one.
DS9. But I'd be happy with TNG or Voyager 2.
Okay, sorry guys. Give me just a second here. Okay, let me throw this over here.
What if it's another TOS? That'd be cool.
That would be cool. We got 2 TNGs last week. I'm not seeing the one we just watched right off, so I will... Hopefully we don't spin it again, and I'll just take it off here in a little bit. All right, here we go. And forgive me if there's anything on this wheel that we've watched already. I think I took everything off, but I had to repopulate some of it again. So anyway, here we go.
What's it gonna be?
And it is...
Bing.
Hard Time. Oh, that's a downer. Jeez. Why do we have to end on that? I'd rather start on an episode like that. That is DS9.
Okay. Brandon got a DS9 episode.
He sure did. Season 3, I want to say?
Yes, I think so.
This is a really good episode.
No, actually, I think it's season 4.
Is it?
I think.
But, oh boy, it's depressing. I'm just glad that we didn't have to do something crazy like this in the shoot back-to-back. Could you imagine that?
The shoot. Oh, man.
Wouldn't that be just nuts? Hard Time.
It's been a long time since I've seen this shoot.
So this is another O'Brien gets unfairly tortured episode. Bad crap happens to O'Brien all the friggin' time. Right?
Yeah.
Season 4 of Deep Space Nine, episode 18. Hard Time. It's been a while. I don't know what I'm necessarily going to have to say about this one, but we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Episode 18, Season 4 of Deep Space Nine, Hard Time. Get it set up, Netflix, DVDs, however you're watching it, and we will take another 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. Adam, we'll see you in a minute, man.
Okay.
And we're back. Okay, we spun the wheel. We got depressingness. I said this was a good one. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm remembering it. I don't think this is a great episode.
It's a good one.
Is it?
It's on my. It was on my. I don't know. I thought it was. It was on. I put it on my runner-up list.
Did you really? Okay, well, we'll see how it watches. Because the last time I watched this, I remember not being real impressed with it. But we'll take a look. Snuffles mentioned she didn't like it, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, there's some stuff in this I was forgetting about. But we'll watch it and see how we feel about it. And Brandon has probably never seen this, so we'll see how it goes.
Probably not.
Am I remembering this right or not, Adam? Look at the synopsis on Netflix. Does that, like, give away the big reveal, or do we find that out earlier in the episode?
That was all...
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the first thing to happen.
Is that right away? Okay.
Yeah, right. It's all about him trying
Clearly, I'm not remembering everything about this.
He's trying to reintegrate into society, basically.
Oh, that's
having lived this experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. So once again, season 4, episode 18 of Deep Space Nine. It's Hard Time. We're gonna start watching it and see how much comes back to me. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Burr, burr, burr. No. I'll quit doing that. Maybe.
Look, he's got a beard like you, Brandon.
Look, it's Prison Santa.
Prison Santa, oh my goodness.
Doing Hard Time. He's on the naughty list this year.
The night Santa went crazy.
Whoop.
Well, that's just unfair.
Ah.
Like, the only thing you have to do, and there's a scan that takes away your sand.
Contamination. It looked like the thing they did in the Starship Mine.
Oh yeah, the Baryon sweep.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you. I was drawing it blank.
Yeah.
I know that, and I was drawing it blank.
I'm sure everyone's gonna.
I'm
sure everyone's gonna judge you for not remembering Baryon sweep. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. So wait, what are these Klingon Dacians? Klingon Dacians?
Athies. This is like what happens to Picard in Inner Light, only like the horrible reverse of that.
Oh yeah, this is all about like getting institutionalized.
Yeah. And it's just white.
How hard it is to go back to real life.
You're dead.
Right. Especially because it's only been like a second, you know?
Yeah. He went through Spawn Year.
Yeah.
I was not inspired by this when I came up with that twist in Spawn Year, but it is a lot like Spawn Year. At least he didn't have to read Spawn comics while he was in that.
I'm pretty sure it's been 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
That's
wow.
Crazy.
Phil says, you want to see what kind of gifts Prison Santa gives you. Oh wow, Busted Sim missed a bunch of the meeting because he lost track of time because he was reading 50-Year Mission. So he was doing a Star Trek thing during the Star Trek Club, but just missed part of the Star Trek Club.
That's messed up.
Oh my god, Doomsvents. How dare you?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of Doomsventses!
Yeah.
Don't tell me they didn't happen. It was real. I was there.
It was real. I was there.
Don't tell me it didn't happen. Oh, he basically said that, but in a way more concise sort of way. It's a good teaser.
Yeah.
I actually really like that that's given to us up front, because there's an episode in Voyager that does something similar where the whole time you don't realize it's in people's heads, but then it turns out to be like that war that Chakotay has to fight, but it's actually like somebody else's memories. Remember that?
The one where they talk weird and they're like the nemesis.
Yes, yeah, it's that one. The nemesis, and then
our blight upon them or whatever.
I forget the name of that, but and I don't think it's Nemesis, is it?
It's called Nemesis, yeah.
Is that the episode? Okay, I knew there was a Voyager episode called Nemesis, but I wasn't sure if it was that one.
We nullified them. That's what they
always nullified them, right?
Is that the one with the holographic training camp that he's...
Yeah, but it's not holographic, it's in his head.
Oh, it is in his head?
Yeah, because he didn't actually do it, it was memories implanted.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was having memories of somebody else's life,
okay.
Which kind of makes the whole episode not that interesting, because he didn't really do any of it. At least I think that's what happened.
I think he actually winds up on the planet.
He did.
When he's killing the bad guys, but who are not actually bad.
I might be also conflating this with some other episode. Some of that kind of stuff blends together. I thought
he made it was a friend that gets killed or whatever. That was all in his mind to get him to hate the enemy or whatever.
I thought,
that's what it was.
I thought he was at some sort of holographic training camp that they had devised to train their soldiers.
Is it holographic though? I don't remember that about it.
I don't know if it's holographic or what, but that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to instill.
Okay.
He became prejudiced against them. And
yeah, Phil, I was going to say the same thing. He said, so we had like a horrible inner light experience, basically. Yeah, it's like...
That's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hellish inner light, yep.
It's like a bad inner light.
The inner darkness.
Inner darkness.
Good
one. Well, the opposite, I guess. Hard time.
Don't get curious.
No, you gotta say it like Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones 4. Hard time! Memorial. There you go. I didn't think it was Nemesis. I thought that was a different episode. Yeah, you're right. It's Memorial. Oh! No. See, I am conflating different episodes.
Oh, Memorial's the one with that thing. Yang, yes.
Okay. I thought they were the same episode. That's what it was.
Two different episodes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but you can see why it's easy to conflate them.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to conflate them. No, I remembered this whole episode being him in that prison and not these middle portions.
Yeah, he had these flashbacks to it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the A story is the recovery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of an Inception way before Inception.
Or it's just the flashbacks.
It's not, that is in no way Inception.
It's not a dream.
Like, sorry, but it's not in any way whatsoever Inception, but okay.
Like having, being kind of in like a dreamlike state for a longer period of time than you're actually in out in the open.
That's a lot different than the kinds of dreams they're doing in Inception, though. And it's not like a thing inside of a thing, which is what that is. And all that. I don't know.
Dream time is what I was going for.
Okay.
Implanting the ideas.
This is a good episode for them, too. This Julian helps him a lot, I think, a lot. There's all these like weird lips in the corridor. I feel like if you're not paying attention, you would trip and fall real easy in this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was good design. But again, it's just the Cardassians not doing anything simply. Right. And they're not the most practical people. And
yeah, there's no people with disabilities, I guess, in their society.
Well, right. That's a good point, yeah. They're like, if you can't pay attention, you deserve to trip and kill yourself. It's fine.
This weird guy. His name's, what is his name? Chila or something?
Something generic like that?
Chila.
Oh, he's also a Klingdassian.
He's a Klingdassian. Oh, the fruit is called Chilesh fruit.
Oh, that's what you're remembering? Not his name, but the fruit?
And I always thought it was Chila's fruit, like Chila plural, not Chilesh fruit.
It's the fruit of some dude named Sheila.
It was his fruit.
Okay, so tell me if I'm remembering this right, because I'm like 0 for 5 right now. This guy will turn out not to actually be there, right?
No, he's there.
Is he? Okay.
But nothing is really there because it's all.
Well, I know nothing's really there, but I know that, but I thought there was some reveal with him at the end. I forget.
It's like his main thing that trauma is involved with this guy and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they play it as a like personality manifestation thing. I just don't remember much about this episode apparently. Clearly.
Thanks for letting us know.
Don't they like
We
erase
can try
selective
it, but...
memories in other episodes though?
Yeah,
and stuff?
there's somewhere they do that. That's one of those things that I think is really ridiculous in the Orville, though, where that's like a routine thing they do, and I'm questioning the morality of that like a lot. Where it's like, oh, we just do this like regular thing where we take parts of your memories out, and then we make you go through a holodeck thing, but don't let you know that it's a holodeck thing because we took your memories out. Really? That's how you train people? Okay. So in like a Star Trek future? Okay.
So Miles O'Brien is technically, in his mind, a whole 20 years older than he actually is.
That's a good point, too.
Kind of crazy to think about. If you suddenly woke up and you had 20 years of experiences that didn't actually happen, that would be frightening.
That would be worse, I think, than even having been in prison.
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
At least for a while it would.
Well, he's 20 years removed from the space station at this point. Like...
Again, in his head, but the good news is it's not like he's actually been gone 20 years. So, like, I think after a while, I mean, on the one hand, that's really hard to recover from. On the other hand, like human beings are like
would get back into
really malleable. We learn thank you. We learn how to adapt to things. But what I was gonna say is, I think you would eventually take solace in the fact that you didn't actually lose any time.
Yes.
Right. Because if he had really been there for 20 years, he'd come back and everything would have changed. Everything would be different. And he's able to actually go back to his life. So in a way, it feels worse at first. A few weeks, a month, a year later, it's not, because you do get to go back to your life. And I also would argue that, and this is not to like lessen what you'd be going through, you know, dealing with this, but I also think that it would be easier ultimately to get over than if it were the other way, because it would be easier for your mind to think of it as a dream after a while, as like not a thing that really happened to you, even though you did fully experience those 20 years.
Right.
Like, you'd probably start to... I would think that eventually you'd get to a place where you're like, did that really happen to me?
Right.
Because the world looks just like it did.
Right.
One of the rare instances where we see a replicator reclaim some matter.
Yeah, that's how they get rid of their dishes,
We do that in Voyager a couple times, too, I think.
We at least talk about it, I know.
But yeah, I would think raising kids would be the hardest part.
Hardest thing.
Of coming back.
But like you said, it would have been better. It would have been worse if he had actually been 20 years, because he would have missed Molly growing up and everything. Oh yeah, he's saving his food.
Yeah, and that whole thing's really believable.
Yeah.
No, this is better than I remember it.
Yeah.
That's a really good touch.
Snuffle says it's like Total Recall. Yeah, that's a better film connection, definitely. Phil says if it was actually 20 years, you'd get into a Demolition Man situation. That's true, except with Stallone and Demolition Man, I think it's actually stasis, so he didn't experience those years.
He didn't experience.
So yeah, it would be much worse for O'Brien than it was for Stallone. Certainly.
Jason's favorite movie.
That is Jason's favorite movie.
What, Demolition Man?
Yeah.
It was a pretty good one.
I want to do a commentary on that at some point.
I can't remember if I've seen it or if I have. It's been a very, very long time.
Murder,
I've just seen bits of it. I know the
Murder, Death, Kill.
2319.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Adam?
I said I don't remember if I've actually seen Demolition Man or just parts of it, or if I have. It's been a very.
We're gonna
long
watch
time.
it because it's great.
Good. It's good.
Welcome to Taco Bell.
That's it's Wesley Snipes, right? Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
It is.
Taco Bell. Asikas.
I like Sandra Bullock in that too.
Yeah, she's great.
She's good.
I think I've seen this guy in other stuff, but I can't.
That's what I'm trying to think myself. I meant to look him up a minute ago, actually.
Bussim just asked Jason what the shells are for. See, Voyager would do a lot of these episodes about species that did like horribly cruel, weird, like mind things to you if you did any kind of a crime. There's that one with B'Elanna.
Ex post facto.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about no, this is a different one. I was thinking about the one with B'Elanna where they're gonna like erase part of her memory because she had like violent thoughts at all.
I don't even remember this episode.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, this is not a hokey premise. Like this would that if you had the technology, I totally buy. Like this would be a really efficient but arguably cruel way to rehabilitate someone.
Right.
Well, we're not actually going to make them go to prison for a long time. And, of course, also, we don't have to use any resources. We don't have to gum up prisons.
Right.
It would also be probably easier to convince a society to do this kind of thing to people for lesser crimes, which would be awful.
Right.
You know, because in our society, you've got the argument of... we've got an overpopulated prison system. Why are we putting, low-level offenders of like drug crimes and stuff in prison? Not for selling, but just possession. People on the other side of that argument that really thought you should put people in prison for that in a society like this, it would be a lot easier for them to make that argument. And in my opinion, it would be just as cruel.
Right.
The punishment doesn't necessarily fit the crime.
Exactly. All he did was look at some stuff, and it's obviously you're getting hints that this is some kind of totalitarian, authoritarian society because he just looked at something and they accused him of espionage. It was kind of like the whole, just like the thing that happened with him on Cardassia a little bit and stuff.
Yeah, and you notice O'Brien is not a natural spy, but he gets thrown into that position constantly. And something I never really thought about before is his best friend down the road, or maybe we're already at that point, is going to be Bashir, who like fantasizes about being a spy.
Right.
And his best friend keeps winding up in that position and getting the full brunt of the negative aspects of being a spy. That's very interesting, isn't it?
That whole thing where he goes undercover with that criminal organization, that guy, and he gets.
That's just what I was thinking about. That season 6, season 7.
Yes.
That was excellent.
That's a good episode. And they have that cat later on in the show as a callback and stuff.
Oh, that's right, they do. Yeah,
Chester,
he keeps that mob boss's cat.
Yeah.
They make up a planet so that they can get away with doing a real, like, 1940s mobster type thing.
Right.
Not for comedy, though. It's not...
No.
It's not really the 40s, but
I think it's involving the Orion Syndicate, I believe.
It is.
But they're not Orions, but it involves them.
Yeah, we don't see them. We do that with Orions a lot before we get to Enterprise, and we do that with the Tholians a lot before we get to Enterprise. You've always got bad guys working with them. And we also did it before we got to the Dominion War with the Breen some, too.
Right.
And we never see them. But the difference is the Orions and the Tholians go all the way back to TOS.
Right.
And the Breen are made up for TNG, and then, I think, unless they're made up for DS9.
I think so.
Do we hear it? Do we hear about them first in TNG?
Or TNG, yeah.
That's how I thought so. I couldn't tell you where, but...
Yeah.
That's a part of this they easily could have forgotten or left out as well, that it would affect his memory.
And how to do his job, right.
Yeah. So even though, I mean, again, it's a good thing that it hasn't really been 20 years because the technology's not changed.
Right.
But it's been so long, he's rusty. He's got to go back to work after 20 years.
Right.
In his own head. This is wonderfully realistic about all that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we're not playing him melodramatic. He's not.
No.
He's not unnecessarily like mopey or like over the top.
No.
Really, whiny. Like you really sympathize with him.
It's not like Deanna Troi in The Lost.
Oh God, that's the worst, man.
I am disabled, Captain.
I am disabled. Yeah. the difference between those two things is entitlement.
With all due respect, Captain, you don't know what you're talking about.
I love when you do that voice. It's the best. She wants everybody to feel sorry for her and to see her as a sob story, even though she's pretending like she doesn't want that, right? I mean, she's real guilt trippy in that. Yeah. And O'Brien really does just want to be left alone. And of course, he needs people and won't admit to that. But Troi, there's nothing you could do to make her happy. Like with Troi, it's just, I hate the whole universe because I had the thing taken away from me that I've decided is all I had to give. And I guess her arc is supposed to be she's more than just some of her superpowers, but like, I think she knew that already. Like, that's throwing that character way the hell under the bus.
Yes. Her superpowers.
It is a superpower. I just want to forget about what happened on Klingassia and get on with my life. See, I remember that part. He just wants to be left alone. Man, and if only you knew how superior he was, too. Yeah. It's crazy how well that ends up lining up retroactively when they clearly were not thinking about that.
Planning it, right.
Now, I don't know how early they had that in the back of their minds. You know, it may be that they were considering it for a while. I've never heard that. I don't know. This is
at least a season before that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So they could have been seeding it. I don't think they did, but I have not read all of the interviews for the 50-year mission for DS9, so it's possible that's discussed there, and I don't know about it.
Right.
You guys want to get together and draw with our fingers in the sand?
Yeah, draw. What did they call them? Sikas or something like that? Uh-oh. Oh!
I don't know that that's that big of a deal. I mean, you're going to have to deal with the Baryon sweep later, so... I'm sick of being Santa Claus. Is it weird that they just leave him in his uniform?
But yeah, and they show at the end when they pulled him out at the beginning of the episode, it was still his uniform, but it was all like dirt, completely gray. You couldn't even see the gold. anymore. So you've been wearing the same clothes for 20 years.
Man, that's messed up. But I would also think, and I get it, it's not real, it's all in his head. So, like, whatever. Like he's not going to be able to do anything to escape because the program's going to be set up to where whatever he does doesn't work. But if it was real anyway, this is a thing that we do sometimes even when the prison is real.
Right.
You wouldn't think that you want to keep a person in their uniform because you have no idea what they have on them. And it's really, really dumb that Kirk gets away with what he does in Star Trek 6. That they just, there's no pat down, they don't check him for anything, they don't scan him.
The entire time. He has that thing right on his back.
I know.
You can see it.
You can see it.
You can see the little thing.
It's not, because Spock just slaps it there, apparently. Yeah, it's not under his, it's not on his skin, under his uniform. Like, what we're talking about is, if you don't know, he's got, in Star Trek 6...
Iridium pack.
That's what it is, yeah. He's got a thing that Spock can scan and then beam him up when he's on Repente, the prison planet. Yeah. And you're like, well, wait a minute. That means that Spock would have had to have somehow known that they weren't going to put him in a different outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that whole plan shouldn't have worked. Spock's just like, oh, I know, I've read the script, and I know I'm in a Star Trek movie, and he's going to be wearing the same thing that he's wearing right now when I come and pick him up later. If you think about that too much, it kind of breaks the movie. Like, I like that movie. That's stupid.
I guess the Klingons didn't care. They're just like, here's some stuff so you don't freeze to death, but you're gonna wear your same clothes.
HR.
HR.
Oh, that's his name.
That name. HR.
Not to be confused with Icheb.
Icheb, yeah.
Oh, that's what I was remembering, is that he hallucinates the guy in the present day stuff.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not entirely insane. Adam, that's like a Lost kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is one of those rare situations where somebody is hallucinating a person and I actually kind of buy it.
Right.
Because very often we'll have somebody that doesn't have like any kind of trauma, major trauma going on or anything, and they just hallucinate a person so that we can personify an idea and like an internal monologue they're having.
Right. And he only does it a little bit in this episode. I mean, maybe he does a little more than I remember. I don't know.
But like, you have to be like on drugs or having some kind of massive trauma to hallucinate like that. And after what he's just been through, I buy it more than I do some other shows or some other episodes of shows where we'll just, and not Star Trek so much, but I'm thinking of like CW superhero shows and stuff where in a lot of like primetime dramas, we like to do this with characters where we'll just like have them seeing people so that they can either have an internal monologue on screen or as just an excuse to bring back characters who have died that we want to see again.
Right. Uh-oh. He's pissed off.
Well, and I understand this too, because the stress of like the guy was designed as part of his like the algorithms to the prison experience. So, you know, he's now traumatically trying to readjust to his surroundings. Right. So I also buy that he would be hallucinating this guy who he thought was real at the time.
Right.
Snuffles says, how is this supposed to... So Snuffles really does not like this episode. How is this supposed to help rehabilitate people that did a crime? You're taking nice people, making them have to live with the guilt of killing someone, and turning them violent. Yeah, but I think the idea is supposed to be that it's a really flawed system. And
I don't think it's... Yeah, I think their mind is it's not rehabilitation. It's retribution. Retribution. I can't say the word.
Or they can't decide which it is, because that's the thing and not to get too political, but that's the thing I'm really on about in our current society is that we don't know the difference, or we say one thing but we really mean the other thing, and so we do that a lot. There is so much about our current prison system that is not conducive to rehabilitating people.
No.
And we can't decide if they're there to punish them or if we really want them to be contributing members of society. And everything is stacked against people who, I guess I'm getting on a soapbox now, I'm sorry. Everything is so stacked against people when they leave prison for even being able to continue to live, and it's so easy for them to just wind up back in prison again. Everything about that system is screwed up and wrong, and I feel like this is an allegory for that system. And that's what works about it to me, now that I'm going back and looking at this again. I'm sorry, Snuffles, I think I do like this episode, going back and looking at it again. Busta Sim just asked for Judgment on the wheel. That's the Rurapente episode of Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
He just says he likes Rurapente, so we're putting that on the board. Thanks, man.
Rurapente da.
Rurapente.
Kronos. Ren.
Ren. You just heard him say Reen. What is wrong with you? Say back what he said. Idiot. Uhura is such a dope in that scene. What's happening?
Oh, he just threw his communicator.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Tom badge. I call it a communicator.
You did. Oh, I just wrote Rurapente on the board instead of Judgment. So that would have come up. Watch something about Rurapente.
That's the episode with Hertzler, isn't it?
No, it's not Hertzler.
It's not Hertzler?
Or is it Hertzler?
He appears in Enterprise at one point, but I don't remember.
I think you're right, actually. No, it's not Hertzler. Hertzler is... Okay, I gotta look it up now, because I'm not remembering. I'm sorry. Maybe he's in 2. He is in the teaser for Borderland, I think.
Yeah.
In season 4. I thought the one in Judgment was the Klingon... Was the guy who played the Klingon arbitrator guy at the beginning of Star Trek 4?
Oh, John Schruck?
Or sorry, and then he is it 4? Yeah, 4, where he's trying to get Kirk to get like the highest penalty and all that.
Right.
I think it's that guy.
John Schruck. Yeah.
Or is that the guy in the Klingon 2-parter in season 4? Maybe that's where he is. I'll just look it up.
He plays Drow in Babylon 5 also. The second Drow.
I forgot about that as well.
You're dead. That was cool. He walked right into him again.
Yeah, I like how that was shot. Yeah, it is Hertzler. You're right. I was mixing up those characters. Yeah. So he shows up as 2 different Klingons in Enterprise then.
Ah.
I do believe.
I'm getting the impression that I know what happened in the prison cell in a vague way. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, but that would be a lot more intense if that child actress was like a tad more convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We just shouldn't have been focusing on her the way we did. When she's got that, like, on her face, she looks like she's in a Goosebumps episode. Like, I would have shot that from behind and not really seen her face, I think, if that was the performance you were getting. Nothing against that 5-year-old, but, like...
Yeah.
Because this is where you want to do that.
That shot looked
Well,
it's all gonna explode. Why is there nothing in them?
Tupperware from
That's a cool wrench.
Walmart.
Look
right
at that.
there.
It's huge.
Snuffles, that's a good point. She says forcing someone into therapy doesn't make them better. You need to be willing to work through it, and he's not. And then the question is, I don't remember if by the end of this, they're like vindicated for forcing him into the therapy, or if he just like needs time And I forgot how they play it, because if they play it like, you know, his friends are right that he needs to be rushed into therapy, then that's not great. But I don't remember how it plays out.
He has a cathartic moment here, I believe.
I think the big mistake they
Julian.
I think the big mistake that his friends make, and I'm not saying that it's wrong for the episode to do this, but there have to be consequences, and we have to play it right, is he shouldn't have gone right back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
He went to work too early.
They were kind of like, oh, we get to get his mind off this. We'll just rush him into this. But yeah, he obviously was not ready.
Yeah. Now, on the one hand, you could say, you know, they don't know how to handle this because they've never been through this with anybody. On the other hand, I would think there would be protocol for a situation like this. Yeah. This would fall into the category of like massive trauma, or like like the way you would treat, you know, somebody who had a huge personal loss.
Maybe
like
they need a counselor on this ship or on this station.
But again, if he's not, she's right though. If he's not ready for therapy,
that's true.
If his dad had died, would they expect him to go right back to work?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? How's there not protocol for this?
Right.
Now, we talked over some stuff. It may be that he insisted on going back to work.
I think he did. I think he was like wanting to get back in the...
But again, there should be protocol that doesn't let you make that choice. No, you have to take a 2-week leave or whatever. Yeah, I agree, Phil. I mean, this is a really well-acted scene.
Yeah.
Also, a guy that had been through that, I wouldn't let anywhere near weapons for a while. Like,
right.
He's standing right behind you. Oh, he is standing right behind him. So Snubbull's big issue with this is that it's too much of a one-off, that it like doesn't inform him enough moving forward.
Right.
Like, this...
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Inner Light, though, in that regard.
Well, yeah, but the difference is it's Deep Space Nine.
That's true.
Like, those characters are that was a rare case. And Best of Both Worlds, we were all really impressed that moving forward we deal with that at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we don't ever talk about his trauma in Chain of Command again either. Like, that show does that all the time. But it's rarer in Deep Space Nine for things like this to not ever be mentioned again, right? Like,
right.
Yes, this is a very standalone episode, but you would expect in Deep Space Nine for it to linger more and matter more. Yeah.
Right.
And especially retroactively, when you look at things like the way we dealt with Nog losing his leg, and that sort of thing, this becomes more glaring when you go back to it. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think she's saying because it's this show.
Right. I see what you're saying about that. Yeah.
Oh, she just said, "I know, but not DS9." Yeah, that's exactly what she's talking about. Mr. Roboto Chilo, Super Chat, does the Federation prison planet... The Federation does have prison planets. They're obviously way more benign than something like Repente.
They're like mental hospitals is what they're like.
They're more like that,
and the thing Tom Paris was in was like Club Med, it looked like.
Tom Paris is in one when we first meet him, and then...
and I think it's just on New Zealand.
Yeah, Thomas Riker goes to one.
Yeah.
Bashir's parents go to one, or his dad goes to one.
Right. Rolaren. They mentioned that she had been in one.
Snuffle says if this were Riker in TNG, it's a great episode. Because it's always doing those sorts of one-offs, and its characters kind of stay more or less static. And then Mr. Roboto also says in a super chat, who is the DS9 Troy. Troy spelled with an I, not a Y. But they don't get the counselor thing until 7, which I always thought was kind of hokey.
Right.
I will go on record and say I'm not an Ezri Dax fan. And more than that, I never liked the counselor thing in that show.
Yeah.
But before that, you don't have one. And it would be easy to argue, maybe this is kind of true, that it makes more sense for Starfleet to have a counselor on a space station than a starship.
Right. Starship.
But I'm just saying it's weird that for 6 seasons you don't have it, and then hit deep in the middle of the Dominion War, they finally... It's like, oh, okay, we'll let her be there, not because we were ever going to have a counselor there, but just because she's got the Dax symbiote, so I guess we'll station her there, and then she just happens... Now they have a counselor. That's weird. Ooh. That's a lot of grunting.
Oh no.
How did he not hear that accidental neck snap?
Yeah, I know.
I guess he's just too far gone.
A little bit.
Yeah, Phil, Busted Sim there in the comments loves Ezri. He mentioned it earlier. Now he's mad at me for saying that I don't like Ezri. Well, I don't.
I am ambivalent on Ezri. She's not Jadzia, but
I don't need her to be Jadzia.
She doesn't.
I would find her to be just as irritating if she wasn't Dax. Now, to be fair, yes, it's worse because that's who we get instead of Jadzia. But like, Trek just does not have the best track record when it comes to female characters. I'm sorry. Like, sometimes they just do not know what to do with a new female character. Yeah. And I like some things she does in certain episodes. Like, it's not like she gets nothing to do. I hate the Worf stuff. I mean, I think that's awful.
That was a little cokey, yeah.
And it just felt real, like, melodramatic, typical TV crap, you know, like... Oh, of course we have to have them have a fling. Like, really? Do you have to do that, though? I like the episode with the murderer persona that comes back.
Is that when is it what's his name? Duran?
Duran, there you go. I was trying to remember it, yeah. Yeah, that one's good.
It's a great performance.
And I also think, yeah, it's really good. I also think if you're going to do the Bashir thing with her, you do it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do that so much in Star Trek? Even that show had to do the Worf Dax, or excuse me, Worf Troy thing, and then the Chakotay 7 thing. Why do we keep doing that? Right. And the last show on the planet you'd think would do that. Right. I got huge issues with 7. I like 7. I mean, I like a lot of things about 7, but I think it's a big drop from 6. And we can't let those Klingassians win, because...
What did you call them that time?
The Klingassians.
Okay.
They're Klingon Cardassians. They're Klingassians.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what I said earlier?
The Asians part got me that time.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's what I said before. It was like the end of Field of Dreams. Did you see that?
Yeah, he didn't need to dissolve. He could have just walked off camera or whatever. I thought that would have been better.
Yeah. At least he didn't just disappear. That would have been way worse.
Yeah.
Okay, but I still think he should take time off.
Right.
Is he going to take time off?
He better.
I guess there is a counselor on the station.
Okay. Is it a Starfleet counselor?
I guess
that's
so.
Fine if we have an off-screen counselor we never see. I have no
guess
problem
they
with that.
did.
All right, never mind. I retract what I said earlier. That's fine. But when we bring in Ezri, we don't mention what happens to that person.
Yeah.
Because if memory serves, and I could be wrong, I'm batting 1,000 tonight. But in 7, I think they treat it like they've never had one.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But I could be wrong. How would you have felt, Adam, if they and Brandon too, but if they had treated it like? Sorry, you're just so engrossed. I haven't been talking to you. How would you
back and forth?
How would you have felt if part of O'Brien's thing had been, no, I know we have the technology. I want you to erase my memory. Like, please take it away. Like, could they have gone that route?
I don't know. That would have been crazy though, because he would have lost all his memories. I don't think Julian would have ethically done that. I think we would have told him no.
No, he wouldn't have, and I'm not saying that should have been the whole episode, but
Brian might have gone there.
But
I could maybe have seen him asking for it initially, like no, or like with the phaser scene. Like, look, it's either I kill myself or you take the memories away. Those are my options. I could have seen that. So I'm not even saying that would have improved the episode greatly. I'm just wondering if that's a bad idea or not. I think they could have done that.
I think they could have.
Maybe. It's a notion. That's better than I was thinking it was.
Yeah.
I actually did really enjoy that episode.
Okay. Well, guys, let's go ahead and do some rating, shall we? We are pretty late tonight, so we'll do this as quickly as we can. As always, we rate on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 is and 4 is yay! And we're going to start this time...
Sorry, I didn't get that. Could you repeat that?
No, I think everybody understands. You can also rate with any decimal points in between that you want to, and we're going to start as we often do with Brandon Grimm. So if you're watching live, feel free to leave your ratings in the comments, and we will read them on air. Go ahead, Brandon.
So for the first episode,
what do we watch again? What was the first one? Oh, it was TOS.
Who Mourns for Adonais.
These episodes have nothing to do with each other.
So the first episode, you know, I really do like that one as far as TOS goes, but I mean, it's got some interesting premises, but as you pointed out later on, they do a lot more of that kind of, you know, space explanation for things, but I can't let that later stuff dog, you know, the earlier stuff in that way. So I'm actually going to give the first one like a 3.5 for me. It's, you know, I mean, I've seen it a lot. I don't necessarily know how it compares to some of the other better, perhaps the same episodes in TOS, but a 3.5 for what I've seen. And for this episode, I'm going to give it a 3.75. I really liked this one. I thought it was very interesting, you know, and it informs more of, you know, Miles and who he is. You know, Miles just seems to get tortured a lot in his years. So
a lot.
Yeah, like he's been through a number, and he continues to go through a number. At some point, he'd just be like, "Why me? Why?"
They even called back to the first time that we get a sense of his tragedy in TNG here with Setlik 3. That's brought up.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, they not only mentioned that, they mentioned the time he got put on trial by the Cardassians.
Yeah.
The time that
which is probably my favorite. We do a lot of hellish things to O'Brien episodes.
I think it was either the time that he had the duplicate made of him, or it was the time that he and Julian, they made them look like they had gotten killed or whatever, and he got exposed to that toxic virus when they're like trying to. They helped those aliens out, but they to get rid of like a bioweapon.
Oh,
then,
that's
like,
not even. That's not even coming back to me right now. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was crazy too. But anyways, Brandon, sorry.
No, I finished basically. You guys took that further than I could have.
Adam, what is your rating, sir?
I give Who Mourns for Adonais a 3. I like it. It's not my favorite episode, but I do enjoy it. I think the guy that did Apollo did a good job of making him a sympathetic character and stuff, and not just some weird alien guy. Probably in the top 30,
wouldn't you say?
I think so, probably. And then this Hard Time, I give it a 3.5. I really do like Colm Meaney, and his performance in this episode I thought was really good and believable for someone who went through some trauma like that.
Yeah, I agree. For my taste with Hard Time, I think we spent a little bit too much time in the mind prison. Like, I think I'm just a lot more interested in the rehabilitation, and I think we could have spent more time on that, and it wouldn't have felt as padded to me. They're both 3s for me. I'm gonna tie my rating. I think those are both 3s.
That's cool.
Got a whole bunch of ratings here in the comments, so I'm just going to go ahead and read them, and then we're going to call it a night, because like I said, we're pretty late this time. Right. Tom, a 2.5 and a 3.5. Phil, thanks for sticking all the way with us, Phil. I hope you enjoyed it. 2 for the first episode and 3.5 for the second. A lot of people really happy with Hard Time, it looks like. Jason, no one mourns for Adonais. 3. And Hard Times, 0 equals 0. I don't know what that even means. 3.5. He gave it a 3.5. I don't know what 0 equals. 0 me. I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Okay. Thanks, Jason.
Sometimes Jason has some biting commentary in the way that he picks, like the way he calls an episode a thing.
This time, not so much. At least because I don't know what that second thing meant. Well, Matthew Bass, who mourns for Adonais 3, Hard Time 4. JDF, who mourns for Adonais 2.5, Hard Time 3.5. Stephen Murphy gives the first one a 3, and Hard Time also a 3, so he agrees with me. Snuffles was only here for Hard Time. That she says that's like a 2.8 for me, given the show it's in and how it's in a bottle. I mean, I totally appreciate that. That is all good points. Busted Sim 2.7 for the first one, 3.6. O'Brien Must Suffer, number 3748. Well, thanks everybody. Wait a minute. Jason says it's math. Get it.
0 equals 0.
What does that have to do with anything, though? What does that have to do with that episode?
Hard Time.
Hard Time, 0 equals...
Multiplication or something? 0 equals 0.
Coordinates.
What are you talking about, kid? The Next Generation... Oh, I'm sorry. This is just Jason's name. Excuse me. Busted Sim says, as in times... meaning multiplication, hard multiplication. Is that what he's saying? Yeah. And now Jason says yes. Okay, that was a weird joke, buddy.
That was a stretch.
Okay, that was a little bit of a stretch, buddy. All right. Well, anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed this whirlwind meeting of Star Trek Club. We will see you again probably next Monday night. That is the plan right now. We will spin the wheel, watch more episodes. Thanks to everybody who participated this evening, and especially folks that left super chats. You guys are wonderful. I sure appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us, and thanks for watching this after the fact if you did that. We will see you again with lots more stuff on Geekvolution this week. Tomorrow night, we're going to do another Marvel Mania. DJ and I are going to be watching Deadpool 2, so pop in for that if you're so inclined, and chat with us while we watch that movie. And then once again, Star Trek Club next Monday. Also Captain Logan show this Thursday, and we'll be doing After Dark after that. So lots of stuff this week. Look forward to it. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan. That's Brandon Grimm.
I was Brandon Grimm.
And Adam of the Merediths.